Welcome back to the Pesky Report. This is episode 511 of the Pesky Report, brought to you by Beyond the Monster. I am here with Hunter and a very special guest. We have John Holobetz joining us here on the Minor League Show. So, welcome to the show, John. We're excited to have you. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to be here.
We are very excited to have you. I think it's actually our second straight week with the guest, so we are enjoying it very much. We're having a little bit of a good run here. First thing, I typically give the floor to Jake. Jake's not here. He's enjoying the Red Sox game tonight. So if you're listening, Jake, enjoy yourself. So instead, I will give the floor to you, Hunter, for the first question.
All right. I feel like the most obvious place to start here is the Quinn Priester trade. When the trade was first reported, it was Yoferi Rodriguez, cash, the comp balance A pick, and a player to be named later. You turned out to be the player to be named later. I don't know about other people, but usually when I see player to be named later, I'm thinking it's going to be lottery ticket guy, low-level minors, maybe still in the FCL or something like that. Red Sox end up getting you, a guy who was drafted in the fifth round in 2024, like a very recent early round draft pick. I think that came as a shock to a lot of people. Obviously, Quinn Priester has been great for the Brewers. But at the time of the trade, there was a lot of like, wow, the Red Sox got a ton from the Brewers. And then when it came out that you were the person coming over, it was like, wow, they got even more than anyone could have expected from the Brewers. How did that go down for you? Like, what was it like? Because I think you were technically traded to the Red Sox like 3 weeks after the actual trade. So like, were you expecting it at all? Were there talks beforehand? Like, hey, it might be you. How did that go down? And how did you feel being the guy that the Brewers gave up? Like, was that a little extra, like, piss you off kind of energy?
Yeah, a little bit. I was questioning it a little bit, but I was excited when I heard that I was going to the Red Sox because the rehab coach down in Fort Myers was my old pitching coach at ODU. So Nick Murray, he's a great guy. So I was excited to team back up with him. There wasn't a lot of talks about the Quinn Priester trade. Quite frankly, I forgot about it. We talked about like some guys were going up to high A that like in a few weeks and all this other stuff leading up to the trade. But I remember that day specifically because it was on a Monday. It was our off day. And I was eating breakfast and I got a call from the guy that like handles all the transactions and stuff. And he was like, "Hey man, this is a tough phone call, but like you were the player to be named later in the Quinn Priester trade." And I was shocked. I was just like, what just happened? But I got to hang out with the guys on my team one last time before I head out, or I headed down to Greenville. And the rest is all history.
Now, when you headed to Greenville, another ODU guy was there, Noah Dean. Were you guys teammates in college?
No, he actually got drafted the year that I got there.
Okay.
So he was drafted that summer that I transferred.
I do want to ask on the kind of, I guess, transition between orgs. I think a lot of people, at least in the baseball world, think of Milwaukee as being very good with pitching development. It seems like the Red Sox are starting to kind of get a little bit of a reputation behind it with Breslow being in charge, Justin Willard, and all the other people in the organization. Was there any like differences for you when you came over to the Red Sox? And if out of those differences, was it just small stuff, maybe tinker something, or it was just kind of do what you've been doing?
Yeah, no, with the Brewers, it was kind of it was just kind of use what you got that got you to that situation, or that got you to that point in your career. But when I got traded to the Red Sox, it was kind of developing a whole arsenal to become a major league pitcher. That was like the biggest difference between organizations, the throwing programs in between outings and all that. The prep stuff never really changed.
Obviously, you started the year in single A with the Brewers. When you came here, you were immediately thrown up to high A. And then a couple weeks ago, you made your double A, or last week, I guess you made your double A debut. You've made 2 starts there. What are the biggest differences you've noticed taking that leap at each level so far?
The biggest difference I think is just like the strike zone's gotten a little bit smaller. I mean, I've never really had a problem throwing strikes. Uh, I don't really walk a lot of guys. I like to take a little bit of pride in that. So
16
like,
walks in 99 and 2/3 innings for anyone wondering.
yeah. And when I talked to my agent about going up, I told him I was a little bit nervous because I heard it was the biggest jump between levels from high A to double A. And he's like, no, it's the biggest jump for hitters, just because the pitchers are so much better. The pitching is just, as long as you can throw strikes in the zone, you're going to be successful.
You've spent most of the majority of your time with Greenville, but now you've gotten to go to Portland. I'm intrigued what your thoughts were on Greenville, because that seems to be the place that every prospect, every coach, whoever we talk to is like, that is the best city for minor league baseball. Just the stadium's cool. I've been there a grand total of 1 time. The area is amazing. Just how did you enjoy Greenville?
Yeah, no, I liked it. It was definitely a really cool place. We lived literally right across the street from the field, so we walked there. We didn't really have a need for a car. Everything was in walking distance. Every restaurant we wanted to go to, every place we wanted to hang out. And then the atmosphere every game was just unbelievable, especially when they played. God, why am I blanking on that name? Oh my God, that I. What's the song that we play in the 8th inning? Sweet Caroline. Jeez, I just blanked on that name. But
You guys have the host, or whatever you want to call it, sings the song, and I think it's funny every
yeah,
single time, because like
yeah,
at Fenway it's just played on the loudspeakers,
yeah,
and there you have someone like singing it, and I'm like, man, I really wish more people would join in, because I feel bad
yeah.
for him every time.
Yeah,
But,
we don't like it. We did not like the host singing that song. We thought he ruined that song a little bit.
so do you have obviously you're not there anymore, but was there like a go-to restaurant on that little strip? Just because I know that when I was technically I was there for 2 nights, but I went to 1 game.
Yeah,
It was just, the whole place was packed. Like, you walking down that street, every
yeah,
bar, every restaurant, it looked like they didn't have a single seat open.
yeah. I believe it was called. It's Beck's is the big one. It's a breakfast shop. It's a little like bistro area. And then the other one I think is called like Route 66, like Smokehouse or something like that. Um, it's a little barbecue place like right down the street from our apartment, and it's pretty good.
Did you have a go-to for it?
It was I got a hamburger with barbecue sauce on it and bacon.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with
Yeah,
a hamburger.
no.
So I'm not hamburger or cheeseburger.
Well, there was cheese on it, but
Okay, just making sure.
You do mention your time in Greenville. I do want to ask though, is there any type of you that, or any part of you that sometimes, I don't know what's the right way to word it, but I guess there are some hitters who like to go apartment hunting. Has there ever been a part of you that, I don't know how much you, like, obviously you're a pitcher, you're not hitting now, but has there ever been a part of you that's like, I'd love to just step in batting practice and just try and smack one right at the apartments?
yeah. I always think about it from time to time, but I like shagging in the outfield. I'm a big power shagger, and I don't really care for hitting. The last time I hit was in high school, but I mean it's always fun to just be like, what could I do if I step in the box right now? But I haven't done it.
See, I would have loved being a pitcher because I got hit one time in the hand, and after that, I was done for hitting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I got hit in between like the shin bone and the shin muscle, and my entire leg went numb. And it wasn't even a hard pitch. I think it was an off-speed pitch, but I couldn't walk. I was like, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, that's a real tough spot.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
My big issue was the those like cold weather practices when you were younger with the metal bats and you hit it right on that wrong spot
Yeah.
and it just like your hand stung and then like the next 5 pitches I would just be like, oh no, I didn't like that one. Coach
Yeah,
would be
no.
like,
I played
you
a
gotta swing at
fall
that. I'm like,
ball
no, it was
game.
bad. My hands are.
I played a fall ball game in the snow growing up in Massachusetts. I don't know why we played, but it was like snow where it was like enough snow to where it was like not enough snow to where they could cancel the game, but because it wasn't raining is the only reason we played because it was cold enough to snow. I unfortunately had to pitch.
Oh man.
So every kid's got hand warmers in their pockets, and I'm just there, just like trying
Yeah.
to warm my hands up, and I'm freezing, and then I had to hit, and I hit one off the end of the bat, and I'm like, yeah, this sucks. Miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Other thing, you did mention how you kind of take pride in not walking guys. You had a stretch this year in Greenville right near the end where you had 5 straight starts without walking five straight starts without walking anyone. What is kind of your game plan? Because a lot of people say people don't like to walk anyone anyways, but some people kind of have a game plan of going in and saying, yeah, I don't want to walk anyone, but I also don't want to leave anything over the plate. Or are you the kind of pitcher where it's like, I'm not necessarily trying to nibble, I just want to get it in the strike zone because I know my stuff's good enough?
Yeah, I'm kind of like that. I try and hit the same spot every time. I mean, obviously, sometimes you miss. I think in the major league level, people miss by an average of like 12 inches from where they wanted to throw a pitch. Um, so if you aim middle, the odds are you aren't going to throw it in the middle. Now, sometimes you are, but sometimes you'll get lucky and get a take or a swing and miss, which is always nice. It's a big confidence booster. But I really struggle with getting the ball up with 2 strikes. That's where I get a lot of my swing and miss on a fastball. And then other than that, I mean, I just try and throw it dead center and just say my stuff's better than yours.
You just mentioned the fastball. Based on what I've noticed during games, sometimes it's hard because the broadcast doesn't always, especially in high A, the broadcast almost never shows velocity. So you're kind of just hoping that the announcers will be like, oh, he threw that one 95. But just based on what I've seen, usually like topped out at 96, that is a big focus in the Red Sox minor league system, especially, is upping velocity. We've seen it over the last few years, people getting these velocity jumps. Is that something that they have worked on with you at all? Is that something that is more of an off-season program? Is that like a philosophy that they have discussed with you at all?
Yeah,
or is it
yeah.
more like you're 96, that's good? Because 96 is obviously still very good.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to keep chasing velocity. I mean, velocity is good for me, but I don't want it to sacrifice my stuff.
Yeah.
So like my fastball gets a ton of ride, and my last year in college, I was chasing velocity and trying to throw as hard as I could. Started sinking it, and it wasn't getting the swing and miss it usually gets, and I got hit around a good bit in my last year.
And then you have off-speed stuff. I believe slider, curveball, changeup. Is there a specific off-speed pitch that you feel has taken the biggest leap in your pro career so far?
I think so far it's been changeup. I mean, it's cutter, slider, changeup. It doesn't really look like it, but that's the arsenal. I think so far my pro career, it's definitely been my changeup. I mean, I don't know if you have the stats with you, but when I was with the Brewers, I know it was only like 5 starts, but I threw, I think, a total of 17 changeups. And then my first start with Greenville was in Rome, and I threw 13, so I doubled my amount of changeups I threw.
Was that something you wanted to do, or was it the coaching staff here was like, hey, we like your changeup, start throwing that more?
Yeah, no. I mean, when I first went to Greenville, my changeup was really bad. It was on that day, and I was able to throw it for a strike. Um, but that's something that we worked on, especially at the beginning of the year. Now we're starting to chase velocity a little bit more, get the cutter a little bit harder, because throwing it at 84 miles an hour when everything else is around there isn't really effective. But it's something that I've worked on.
In terms of mixing pitches, I think the Red Sox very much kind of had, like, it feels very much they have a kind of thought process of, like, even, like, for example, even if you have a really good fastball, don't throw it all the time, because once you get to the big leagues, you can't rely on one singular pitch. You did bring up, obviously, the fact that you've thrown your changeup more. Has there been more of a focus of just kind of using more of your arsenal, using your entire arsenal, even if, your one day, your fastball might be on, and you might be able to throw it, get guys to swing and miss at it every single pitch. But they want you to maybe throw a slider on, whenever you get to 2 strikes, because they want to work on that specific pitch.
Yeah, you nailed the hammer on the head. Nailed the nail on the head. Yeah, no, it's not really to hide the fastball, because everyone knows fastball gets the certain amount of movement, and all the scouting reports show that. But it's to camouflage it so they don't know when it's coming.
And then just to add on top of that too, has there been any sort of, like, since you've obviously coming over midseason is probably a little bit different, but has there been any tinkering in terms of them saying, like, with the fastball or with any of your pitches, has there been any tinkering with anything, or just kind of just changing pitch mix, and then maybe off season considering changing like pitches slightly if they feel that's what they want?
Yeah, we changed our a lot of my off speed grips. My changeups pretty much stayed the same, but my cutter grip, I tinkered with it a little bit, trying to get some velocity on it. My slider grip, I tried to get some depth on it, so we tinkered with that a little bit. So we're just seeing what kind of sticks. We're just throwing stuff at the wall. But that's going to be a big focus in the off season, is kind of refining that arsenal.
The Greenville roster this year was absurdly talented, especially on the pitching end. There was a point when you were in Greenville where the rotation / piggyback, I guess, rotation had you, Peyton Tolley, Eduardo Rivera, Juan Valera, Noah Dean, Blake Aida, Shea Sprague, Brandon Clark. Like the list was just absurd. Was there any kind of, like, inner competition between you guys to whether it was strikeouts or a certain amount of innings in a game or whatever it was? I just feel like there must have been some kind of competition going on. And also, just what was it like to have that kind of a rotation? And I don't want to say see the defeat on another team, but that has to be frustrating for a team you're going up against to be like, oh, well, Peyton Tolley just shoved it up our ass for 5 innings. Oh, look, we got Brandon Clark tomorrow. Oh, look, we have John Holobetz the next day. Oh, look, we have Blake Aida. Like, that's got to be frustrating for a team. Is it something you ever noticed? Was a team maybe starting to get frustrated as the week went on?
No, not really, actually. I think we didn't really have a competition for who can get more strikeouts, who can get this, who can get that. It was just kind of like playing for each other. We wanted to set a tone early, like on our Tuesday game, and then kind of like take that tone and just space it out throughout the week. Try and limit the damage on offense or on defense, because we knew our offense was going to score some runs.
In terms of, we kind of talk about that rotation, the people in it, but this has been a trend with the Red Sox where they love themselves some big pitchers. You are not a small person, right? You're listed at 6'3", 190. I don't know how accurate that is, but you're not a small person by any means. But when people like a Peyton Tolley, for example, are in the rotation, you end up as one of the smaller guys. What has that been like? Because it's kind of the Red Sox in the entire organization. It feels like it's just like every starting pitcher is just like a massive human being. Even you include, like 6'3" is not a small person, but when you're next to someone like a Peyton Tolle, it's kind of like, it's like, oh my God, it's like what? It's like everyone here is just massive, right? Like it's gonna feel kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit demoralizing. You try not to compare yourself, but no, in all seriousness, it's pretty cool. Because obviously 6'3" is not too big, not too small, but I mean, you got Brandon Clark who's 6'5", 6'6". You got Eduardo Rivera who's 6'6". Peyton Tolle 6'6". Like it's kind of crazy.
You guys can have your own basketball team. So I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't have anything to do in the off season, go run it like I'll team up together, go run it like a gym, or during spring training or something. Find some time on find a court nearby near Fort Myers or something. You guys can run. You guys could run fives.
Even on the Sea Dogs, we got Cruz who's like 6'8", and then we got Jorge Juan who's also like 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah. They showed him in the dugout a couple games ago. I think like he caught a home run ball, or a home run ball landed next to him, and he doesn't look like a human. Like he stood up, and Emmett Tiedemann was immediately like, "That's the tallest person I've ever seen." Like,
he's gigantic.
It's absurd. But speaking of Portland, that's seen a lot of turnover this year, pitching wise. I mean, like Tyler Uberstein started the year there. Obviously, Peyton Tolle went through it absurdly quickly. David Sandlin and Connolly Early recently moved up, but there's still a ridiculous amount of talent pitching wise for Portland. You're there. Dalton Rogers is there. Hayden Mullins is there. Blake Wehunt. Who has helped you transition to AA the most? Like, is there someone in that locker room that kind of has taken you under their wing and been like, hey, this is how things are done here, or helped you with an issue you had, or just transitioning to the level, like to the difficulty of the level?
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone's been super helpful. They've been super nice, and they've been great teammates. But I think Dalton Rogers has been just great. He's my roommate, so we spend a good amount of time together, and he's just been very helpful with the move-in process and learning the AA hitters and kind of working my way through a lineup.
You weren't with him in high A, right? I feel like he would have been promoted before. I feel like he barely. No, he pitched
I
there.
was with him.
Amount, right?
I was with him the last week he was there.
Okay.
So the first trip to Rome was his last couple days with us.
Spent some time in Greenville, and we have a friend of the show in Greenville, Liam Carroll, obviously the manager for Greenville, 2-time guest on the show. Which we love Liam here. He's great. What was it like though when you get to Greenville, obviously, and we've talked with Liam a little bit how because he was sales manager last year, he's with Greenville this year, and kind of just we talked about it more last year, kind of like the melting pot that there is in the minor leagues, and just people from all different walks of life kind of coming together and playing baseball together. And Liam Carroll, being from England, totally so he's someone from a totally different country coming over. What was that like? Because obviously you get traded, you're meeting a whole bunch of different people you never met before. What was that kind of transition like? Because you go from Milwaukee and there's one culture there where all these people from different places, and then you come to the Red Sox, you go to Greenville, you have a manager from the UK, you have players from the Dominican or Venezuela or Puerto Rico or wherever. You get players spread out all throughout the U.S. and California, because the Red Sox love their California kids. What was that like coming into kind of that a new org and kind of experiencing the different people in the Red Sox organization and kind of the melting pot that is?
Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty much the same as the Brewers. But it definitely was a little bit harder to kind of find my footing because I was obviously a new guy. I didn't spend a lot of time with them in spring training and all this. But Noah was really helpful, Noah Dean, because I mean I knew him from ODU. He worked out there over the offseason a good amount, so I talked to him And then a couple guys were teammates, Liam Carroll included. He was the coach of the Great Britain World Baseball Classic team. And one of my teammates on with the Mudcats played on that team. So he kind of told me what he was like, and I got to talk to him about my teammate. And then Hudson White was high school teammates with another one of the pitchers on the Brewers. Obviously, Yof was there, and I spent a good amount of time with him in spring training. So it was pretty easy. It was just a little bit tough to kind of find where I kind of fit in.
Yeah, I mean, new faces, new people, but like nothing like crazy or anything.
Yeah, no.
Hunter?
There's still a little season left. So this is kind of a two-part question. One, is there a specific goal you wanted to reach this year, and have you felt you've reached it? And then obviously, maybe this is something you're not thinking about yet, but do you have any specific off-season goals yet?
Yeah, no. I want to throw 106 next year. No.
Hey, I would
think,
like to do that too. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would like to do that as well.
No, I think my original goal when I first got drafted was to get to AA. And then when I got the call up, I think that was just like a surreal moment for me.
How did that call-up go?
Yeah, no. So we were we were packing the bus to go back from Winston-Salem, and I was ready to just get on the bus and start a fantasy football draft with the rest of the Greenville drive. And I was like, I was the number one pick, so I was trying to decide on who to take and like kind of strategize my draft. It ended up being really bad, but I was about to hop on the bus, and our strength coach Dan Rosen comes out. And he's like yelling at me. I was like, what's going on? He's like, Liam wants to see you. I was like, oh no, like this is either going to be good or bad. And so when I was walking into his office before we like right after he was getting ready to get on the bus as well, I heard someone in the corner say Portland. I was like, no way, right? Like that's there's no shot that I'm getting promoted. And he told me to close the door, and we just kind of talked about my development, and Kip, our pitching coach down in Greenville, we talked a good amount, and then he was like, yeah, you're going to Portland. It's been an honor to coach you these past couple months.
That's awesome. So then, sorry, I kind of cut you off there, though. So did you also have any off-season plans? I know you obviously did the 106, but...
No, I think just get bigger and stronger. I mean, I weigh 200 right now, but I don't look like I weigh 200. I look like I probably weigh about 180. So I think getting a little bit more physical, hopefully that will help me move better and stay healthy throughout the season.
Do you have workout partners for the off season, like whether it's teammates, old college teammates, whoever it is?
Yeah, back home I have a gym that I go to. It has a couple pro guys. A kid named Travis Blankenhorn. He was in AAA he's in AA with the Angels right now. But he made his debut with the Twins. He played a little up and down a little bit with the Mets. He was with the Nats last year in AAA. We work out together. A couple D1 college guys that work out at the same gym. And then obviously I'm going down to Florida in the off season to work out at the spring training facility before the dead period.
And then I'm curious about the trade deadline. I don't remember hearing any rumors about you. Like that was a big thing with James Tibbs. The second he got traded to the Red Sox, there were already rumors like, hey, this guy's going to get traded again, which had to suck for him.
Yeah.
But did you kind of have any nerves during the trade deadline just because you had already been traded? Is that something?
Also, it's your birthday, right? It's also your birthday.
My birthday was July 31st.
That's deadline.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But like, so was there that like worry of, damn, I already got traded once. Am I good? Did they value me the same way?
Kind of. I think that it was in the back of my mind, like I could get traded. The last couple series, the series at Winston-Salem and then the series before that against Hub City, we saw there was a ton of Dodger scouts out there. So, like, we thought that one of us was getting traded. We didn't know who it was. We thought it was going to be either Clark or Arias, but that ended up not happening. Thank God, because those two are fucking awesome. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if we're allowed to curse.
No, you can swear. Don't worry.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
You know what? I shouldn't say anything though. I just did the same thing on a different podcast yesterday. I cursed like 2 minutes in, and I was like, "Wait a minute, am I allowed to do that?" But yeah, I don't think you ever have to worry about a Red Sox podcast and swearing.
All right,
People
cool.
from Boston do not care.
All right, awesome. But yeah, no, those two are great teammates. I'm happy they didn't get traded. But we were kind of just like talking about it. We were like, oh no, who's gonna get traded? All this stuff. And then the trade deadline happened, and we really didn't make a move other than that Tibbs trade. So we were like, oh, okay, that just kind of came and went.
Yeah, I don't think anybody you played with got traded, right?
No.
I'm trying to think of it. Was Blake Jordan or
Earhart.
Steven Matz?
Earhart.
Yeah, okay, you would have played with Earhart. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is some
But he
BS
wasn't- he
because
was
I
in
was.
Portland at the time.
That is BS because I was the only person I was like the only person who called the Red Sox were going to draft him
Yeah.
because they drafted him 3 years before, and I was pissed because I was
Well,
like, dang it, there go. I can't because I used to always bring it up on the show. It's like that was like my thing. It was I have the Alan Castro fan club, so I'm like I got that. I got the fact that I called they were picking Earhart, and we got all the Big Al love on the show between all of us. Speaking of Big Al, the legend of Big Al is one that is it's something for sure. It's something kind of crazy. He's got 120 mile per hour exit velos. He's pumping mid 90s on the mound. Is there anything Big Al can't do? Because like I part of me thinks like they could stick him in like they could stick him in like center field. He like make like a home run robbery or something. Like it feels like there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that one. I haven't seen him throw an off-speed pitch.
When you throw gas, do you need to like?
Maybe not. I don't know.
It is something where just Big Al is. I don't know. It's happened with our show too. Like if whenever we ask, like the rare times we've asked, like, hey, anyone have questions? We always get Big Al questions.
Yeah,
always. It's always
Yeah,
what's Big Al doing?
Like from random fans all the time. They're like, "What's going on with Big Al?" and to be fair, never heard a bad thing about the dude. We've talked to coaches, we've talked to players. I talked to Philip Sykes in AAA, who's never even played with him, and we talked about him for 10 minutes. He was just like, "I heard he's the greatest dude in the world." I was like, "All right, I guess that it makes sense that we're just always going to talk about him because everyone seems to like him." But
it's kind of funny because when I first got there, I had no idea. Like, I thought he was Rafael Devers. Because I saw him taking ground balls. I was like, that kid's huge. and then I found out who it was. I was like, oh, yeah, it wouldn't make sense for Rafael Devers to be an IA.
That is true. Although I will say, I mean, Big Al might have more lore than even Rafi at this point. Like the lore behind Big Al is it's impressive. It is truly impressive. I think that we almost like there's almost no show we go without like mentioning him sometimes.
Yeah, no, he's a big clubhouse guy. He's always happy. He's always smiling. He was really great to just be around and thrive off of his energy.
On that point, I brought it up. I think when we first started the show, was it a little bit more than two? This is our third full season doing the show. So
yeah, it was the start of the 23 season.
Yeah, and I think, and one of the big things I said, I think the first like 2 months of the show was, and I still believe it, I just haven't said it as much as, like, having a culture and a winning culture in the minor leagues is important. People think minor leagues, winning doesn't matter. But having a good culture and winning is a part of that is very important. It wasn't like having those guys there, like a Big Al, something like you said, he's always smiling. And like Hunter said, we've never heard anything bad about him. Not necessarily just him too, like a lot of people, coaching staff too. What is it like? Just what's the importance of kind of having that culture in the minor leagues?
Yeah, it's interesting because like you want to you want to win. Winning's always just fun. But with their philosophy is kind of just gonna get developed for the big leagues so we can win at the big league level. And if we develop well, I mean, we're gonna win. So like it's just gonna kind of come naturally.
Yeah, and I think you see that philosophy in the minor leagues. Just like with pitchers we've talked to saying how they're told like, hey, you're throwing this pitch on in this count. And I mean, Big Al's even a perfect example of it with Greenville. There was a stretch of like 5 games or 5 straight extra inning games, not in a row, but just 5 extra inning games where the 10th inning he was coming into pitch and the other team was continuously throwing out genuine pitchers.
Yeah.
And for Greenville, it was just like, hey, it was very clear you guys had a schedule of like, he's throwing, these 3 guys are throwing Tuesday and nothing's changing about that. Like no one else is throwing. So then when you get to extras, it was like, all right, well, we're kind of punting this game. So I do think that kind of showcases that winning is important, but there are much more important things according to the Red Sox when it comes to that for the minor leagues, because they don't want to mess up someone's schedule.
Yeah, it's all about managing your workload and trying to keep guys that are healthy to stay healthy.
Speaking of managing workload, though, you are one of the rare pitchers in the system who seems like a pretty decent bet to go 6 innings. I mean, you've made 2 AA starts. You've gone 6 innings and then 6 2/3 innings. That's a very impressive thing in the minor leagues because you guys always have strict pitch counts. I've gotten into arguments on Twitter before. I forget who it was. It was someone in high A, though. I'll just say it was Eduardo Rivera, and he threw like 4 2/3 innings. And someone started complaining. They were like, "Oh, even in the minors, we don't have pitchers who can go 5 innings." And I was like, "Bro, no one cares about that in the minor leagues. Like, you have a pitch count, and if you're at 65 pitches, you're done. It doesn't matter." So has that been a point of pride for you of I'm going to go deeper into these games? And then 2, is that just kind of a testament to your ability to throw strikes because you're not working these 10, 11 pitch at bats, you're getting people in and out of that box quickly?
Yeah, no, I to go along with the second half of that question, I like to try and get people out as quick as possible. And if the guy's just fouling off pitches, I'm like, all right, dude, like put a ball in play, hit a home run, do something, because I don't like throwing this many pitches. But to go along with the first point, I think I take it as like a challenge. I want to see how many outs I can get without going over the pitch count or getting too fatigued, because that's happened once or twice where I got so fatigued after like 50 pitches. Like Rome was an example of that. It was like 160 degrees on the turf, and
I was about to ask that. I was just about to ask.
I was out there. I was struggling. I was out there. I was dying.
Is that? Do you say anything? Like you're dead. Do you say anything, or are you just kind of like, I want to get to my pitch limit, or do you have?
I think my goal is like once I get to the 5 innings, everything else is kind of like frosting.
Okay.
So like when we were in Rome, I was grinding, trying to throw as many, like I was trying to throw as hard as I could, and just the ball was coming out. Like I think I hit an 89 in that game. I was throwing really slow, and I just felt like I didn't have it, and I was just trying to get as many outs as I could to try and help the bullpen, try and help the team.
You've made 2 starts in Rome. I'm assuming this was the June 24th, just because May 9th, start. I can't imagine it would be as hot.
Yeah, so it was the second start. It was during the heat wave.
You still 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, no walks. I don't think anybody outside of maybe seeing that you hit 89, I don't think anyone would have been able to notice that was a game you were dying on.
Yeah, that's where my agent texted me after the game. He's like, "Great game, man." I was like, "No, it wasn't." Like I did not like that. But yeah, no, I took a nice cold shower after that one.
That's good. So I grew up in Mass, but I moved to Florida when I was 11, and playing in the heat in general is just, I always hated it. Didn't get it. Like, part doesn't. I don't
hot weather.
Oh, nope. See, I'm the opposite. You're in Portland now. Like, if you end up back in Portland at the beginning of next year, good luck. It's cold.
Yeah, we just mentioned it with
heard.
Marcus Phillips last week. The last 2 years, Portland's first series of the year has been snowed out. So be prepared for that.
Get the snow boots ready.
I've heard it's cold, but I mean, I love the snow. I'm a guy that grew up in the north. I grew up in the mountains, so like it doesn't really bother me. I do not like pitching in it. I can say that.
That is fair.
I threw one. I pitched one game in high school in the snow, and I was throwing fastballs, and they were popping out curveballs. And the catcher was getting so mad at me. I was like, I'm trying my best, man.
The thing is too is like people like a lot of people don't realize too is like in football, like everyone thinks, oh well, football quarterbacks, but like they got hand warmers on them. Like they get their little like fanny pack hand warmer thing and just shove their hands in there. If you're a pitcher, you're kind of just out there, like your hands just out there to freeze, and good luck. Like you have.
I think once you warm up, so like when you're on the mound, it's not bad. It's the in between innings. It's the sitting down and then getting back up and trying to stay warm. That's tough.
Definitely. On the just kind of on the weather thing, do you prefer playing in like kind of cold weather, or are you kind of someone who is because like there's some people this is a little bit more hitter related because I know like some things like hitters will be like you see hitters start to heat up as the weather gets warmer. Some of that might be just the ball flying better, but then you see some hitters who typically start the year hot, maybe they end the year hot, they just play better in cold weather. Do you think maybe you play better one, or is it just kind of you just have a personal preference of which you like?
I mean, growing up in the north, I think I like cold weather a little bit more. Playing in the heat and the humidity is all okay. Like it's not terrible, but it's tough to breathe. It's tough to breathe in that kind of heat. Whereas like in the cold, it's a little bit thinner air. So it's not as taxing on the body, I would like to think. I mean, it's been so long since I've pitched in sub 60-degree weather, so it's going to be a little bit of a test.
Late this year, get into like September. I will just mention too because I think like bring up the Portland thing earlier in the year, like you're going from Fort Myers to Portland at the beginning of the year, or from Fort Myers to Worcester, and it is definitely a jump. I remember, but like even then, like being in Florida, like I was at a Rays game when they were playing the Dodgers, which it was a Kershaw start, which was cool, but I'm literally sitting in the stands, just like starting to sweat just from it was like, and it was I say only 90 degrees. And like Kershaw's on the mound, and like it maybe an inning in, it looks like he's drenched in sweat, and I'm just like, I'm like, he's pitching good.
Well, he's also 47 years old, so
that is true. But like, I'm also like, I'm like, that looks miserable. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm enjoying myself because Kershaw's pitching, but I'm also like,
you're feeling sorry for him.
Yeah, I'm like, it's gonna and then I think it was Shane Baz pitching for the Rays. The first inning, he was throwing like 97, 98, and then the rest of the game, he was sitting like 93, 94, and I'm just like, I'm like, that does not look like fun. I'm like,
no, it's fun. It's not bad when you're on the mound. It's when you get off the mound. Like
exactly.
I said, that's where that's the killer of velo. It's I was just talking about this with Hunt a couple days ago. We were talking about like. It's not the amount of pitches you throw that get you tired. It's the amount of ups that get you tired. And especially when it's like a long inning. Like he was saying he'd rather when we're hitting, he'd just go like ground out, solo home run, ground out, and then he's back on the mound, and then like every inning just hit a solo home run. That's it.
It's like it's like if you're not gonna score, can you at least get out quick? Like if you're not gonna score, just can everyone just like ground out on the first pitch and just get back out there?
Yeah.
I do also want to ask though, in terms of pitch count and kind of you mentioned like the up and downs can be tiring. What about like when you have like maybe like I know you don't walk a ton of people, so your answer might be a little bit different than some people's on this, but kind of the high pressure pitching situations, or maybe you have a runner on second and third, or even if it's a runner in scoring position where 2 outs, where it's kind of you really want to bear down, get the guy out to not let the run score. Are those pitches something where because you're kind of so zeroed in on and focus on not letting the runner score, do those tax you more, or is it just kind of a thing that people say even though it's not a real thing?
No, I think it's a little bit more. I don't know. I'm a guy that likes to pitch with runners in scoring position. I came up as a closer in college, so I was like a 3 inning guy, like come in, save the game. But I think with runners in scoring position, you kind of have to like grit your teeth a little bit more, get a little gritty, try and find any way to not stop that run, but almost like trade bases, because that run is, especially with like less than 2 outs, that run's supposed to score technically. So like you don't want to be like, all right, I got to stop this guy from scoring. You got to what I like to do is try and think like trade an out for a base. And if the guy's on second with 1 out, he's not scoring because he's going to get, like, let's say he hits a single to lead off the inning, deep fly ball gets him to second base, that's 1 out. Next out gets him to third base, next out gets him home, but that's 3 outs, you're out of the inning.
You obviously are a starter, but you just mentioned, you were a closer in college, and we're seeing that with the Red Sox this year. We're seeing Peyton Tolley, David Sandlin, 2 guys who are starters who have been discussed as bullpen options for the Red Sox down the road. So let's just make up a scenario here. Next year, near the end of the year, the Red Sox have you working out of the bullpen. They're like, hey, we want you for the playoff push. What song are you going out to the mound on or for?
I liked my song in Greenville. I liked Backup Plan by Bailey Zimmerman and Luke Combs, I think. I forget who made the song, but it's a great song. I've been listening to a lot of Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. That's a good song. I like that one coming out of the pen. And then I'm gonna throw myself back into college here. I think oh man, what's the song? It's by 50 Cent.
Is it off Get Rich or Die Trying by any chance?
No, it's not. Why am I blanking on so many songs? I'm
I don't think he meant to do that.
I don't think he meant that. I think we just lost him. Technical difficulties.
I think he went to click on his on like the iTunes. I think he just canceled out of the thing.
Hey, it's not the first time we had a. It's not the first time something like that's happened.
That's true. I think it was Alex Bouchard's internet went out when he was on.
No, it was because they had a storm in Florida. They had Fort Myers.
Yeah,
a thunderstorm, and the power went out at the Red Sox facility. I remember that because I'm like 3 hours north of Fort Myers, and I was having this. This was a big storm, and I was having like the north part of that storm was getting me. I remember that, but we'll be back in a sec. We'll get Holobetz back on, and we will resume when we have it back on. All right, we are back to talk small technical difficulties. Like I was just mentioning before, we just paused for that brief second. It's happened before. We had Alex Bouchard on, and big thunderstorm here in Florida in Fort Myers. He was in Fort Myers, and power went out in Fort Myers. It was kind of hilarious because I was having the same thunderstorm up here. I'm 3 hours north of Fort Myers, and was having the same thunderstorm and sitting. I'm like, I hope my internet doesn't go out. And then we lose. And then we lost Bouchard. And then I think as soon as we finished recording, I think my power went out right after. It's not the first time. We did figure out what song it was.
Yes. It was Hate It or Love It.
We got there.
We got there eventually. The pause actually ended up being beneficial. We figured out what song it was. And so I don't know if we want to where we were going with that.
That was he answered the question.
He did answer the question.
So then my next question would be: you spent time in Greenville, you spent time in Portland, you got to work with a lot of different players, a lot of different catchers. One catcher who I feel like fans have been very excited about recently is Johanfran Garcia. He's been hitting the hell out of the ball lately. Just interested to know what your thoughts are or were of working with him, because that is something. Obviously, last year he tore his ACL in single A, and one of the big concerns was really if he was going to really catch much anymore. And I think a lot of people were surprised by how much he's been catching. He hasn't played a game at first. It's like 85 to 90% catching and then like 10% DH.
Yeah.
And it seems like people are impressed with how he's played defensively. Did you enjoy pitching with him behind the plate?
Yeah, no. Him and Huddy are two really good defensive catchers. They call a great game. I think me and him were on just like whenever we pitched to each other, or he's my battery partner. It was just kind of we were on the same page a lot. The one thing that I kind of sped myself up when runner was on second. We'd go through our sequence of signs, and I'm like, "Yep, did not get that one. I'm gonna need that one again." That's the only thing that I can think of where it was just like that we were kind of out of sequence.
Was there a specific player for your in high A or double A? I mean, you've only made 2 double A starts so far, so that one maybe you don't have as good of a sample size. But is there a player who you feel picked it up for you in your games, like Nelly Taylor, Johanfran Garcia, Will
Yeah.
Turner, whoever it was, who it seemed like whenever you were on the mound, it was like he's gonna do something for me. He's gonna hit a home run or something today.
Yeah. For me, it was whoever was in center field. there would be some play in that little triangle of death. That would always
that
they would always
outfield had
find a
to
way to
be
make that play.
that outfield had to be like your best friend, right? Yoferi Rodriguez, Miguel Blaze, Nelly Taylor, Zach Earhart for a little bit. Like that just freaks defensively. That's just an absurd defensive lineup out there.
Yeah, and Will Turner. You can't forget
And Will
about
Turner,
him.
yeah.
On the teammate things, I have a question that I always ask. Hunter knows what this question is. We ask it every pitcher
I asked
who
it
comes
for
on,
you last week. I want you to know that.
which I am very grateful for. We ask it to every pitcher that comes on the show. If there's one pitch that you could add to your arsenal, or you could replace like your slider with someone else's slider, but if there's one pitch you could add to your arsenal from any of your teammates, what pitch would it be? It could be current teammate, past teammate. What would it be?
I mean, you got to be an idiot not to say Peyton Tolley's fastball.
You get the extension with
just
it.
The extension with it. But I think someone that pitches similar to me, I think would probably be like maybe Ida's changeup. Ida's changeup or sweeper. They're two pretty good pitches. And I mean, I idolize the shit out of Ida. He's a great pitcher with what he's got.
I'm waiting for us to get for the Red Sox to. I'm waiting for us to kind of come on here one time and someone be like, "Oh yeah, someone's got like a knuckleball they never whipped out before." Like I'm waiting for something.
Well, there
is
like someone that has a knuckleball though, isn't there? That like just doesn't use it. I feel like we had someone on that said, so like Hayden Mullins or someone has a knuckleball that they just like don't use.
We Hunt might. I think I heard
it might have been We Hunt. I remember someone saying that.
That feels like it would be a Blake We Hunt type of thing.
Yeah, I think We Hunt might have one.
Sweet,
yeah, I'm gonna need him.
Or someone whips out an EFIS or whatever.
Now, I do want to expand on this question because when Derrik asked it to you, your face lit up immediately, and then he added on the caveat of a teammate. Was there like someone else that you were thinking of?
I mean,
isn't a teammate?
DeGrom's entire arsenal.
That's fair.
But no. I was just thinking. I was thinking of like just specific pitches that would play well, and I think like just like a legit curveball probably be best to add.
Is there sticking with teammate questions? Is there a specific teammate who you really want to face? Like have Ronald Rosario step up into the box against you or something?
No. I mean, I faced Will Turner in college. I don't know if you know this, but he was actually the first hit I've given up in college. I played for Radford my freshman year, and we took a trip down to South Alabama, and it was his first hit, and it was a triple, and it was my first hit given up.
For the record,
now
I
you
hate
need
triples.
revenge.
This is a ongoing thing on the show. I also hate triples. So
Derrik was a slow child and never got a triple.
Exact. My one triple wasn't a real triple. It really was a double with like 2 errors.
That's Little League baseball.
Go back
to a score sheet of Little League baseball. 80%
nobody kept score. That was the issue.
I hit 2 triples in high school, but no, I think just getting revenge on him would be great.
So you would put money on yourself? You think you're winning that one? I don't want to say put money on yourself. There's been issues with gambling.
To be fair, he has to get advantage as a pitcher though. Like, to be fair, a really good hitter is only getting a hit 3 times out of 10. So like, he kind of has.
But then 2 years later, we played each other in college, and I think I faced him twice. I might have only faced him once that day, actually. I walked him. So I might have gotten him out my first outing, but I remember distinctively giving up that triple because, I mean, it was my first hit. And then I remember distinctively walking him his next at bat because he was our focus hitter.
I don't know the revolutionary technique. Hunter, who was that took the revolutionary technique of just hitting guys instead of walking them because pitch count. That's my running joke. That's like if you're gonna walk them anyways, you could just hit them and it'd be 1 pitch instead of 4. That's what
my old head coach used to say. He's like walks will lead to runs like 97% of the time, but hit batters only score like 30% of the time because it's an aggressive pitch.
Hey, if you hit them in the leg and you take odds are they're not scoring on a ball in the gap. So
exactly.
Obviously, we're not encouraging anyone at home, any kids listening. We are not encouraging you to hit people.
Well, now I'm going to ask: have you ever intentionally hit someone?
No.
One in their ribs.
Just thinking no. I remember in high school, every time someone bunted, it didn't matter what side of the plate it was on, he was wearing it in the chest. It wasn't on purpose, but I would just like the one time I made a kid like actually like fall over because like I didn't throw very hard in high school, but like I was still like running it up to the upper 8s. And a kid bunted or went to bunt and I threw it. And as soon as it left my hand, I was like, oh no. And the kid didn't pull back. It just nailed him square in the chest. I was like, oh, man.
So that's a strike, though.
Yeah. I don't think the umpire saw it that way. I don't think the umpire saw it that way, but I definitely remember being like, oh, that's not good.
Obviously, we want to be cognizant of your time here, so we'll wrap it up soon. I'm just curious if there's anything you want Red Sox fans to know about you off the mound, like not just obviously when you go out there you're working your ass off, whatever it is, but something about you not to do with baseball.
I mean, I like golf. I'm a big golfer.
Do you guys get to go out often?
Yes, every Monday we can go out. I have not played this entire season, so I'm going to be a little just recovering, and also like I should have when I was in Greenville because we had a golf simulator in our apartment, and like the days that I was throwing like Sunday or Saturday, I could have probably played golf, but I'm very lazy in the morning, so. I usually just sit around, eat breakfast, and wait to go to the field.
That's fair. That's my issue with golfing too. Is people will set it up and they'll be like, "Yeah, 6 a.m. tee time," and I'm like,
"Oh, it's gross."
Yeah,
let's make it like 11. Then we can drink. Like it's sad to drink at 6 a.m. We can drink.
See, it's not. For me, it's not even that part. For me, it's just I hate mornings. I am the opposite of a morning person. it doesn't matter what time I go. I could go to bed at 8 o'clock at night or midnight, and I don't want to get up before 8 in the morning. I am miserable. I have a running joke with my roommate that we have a running joke that I could sleep 15 hours straight, and if it's before 8 in the morning, I'm going to be miserable.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I'm definitely a night owl for sure. But
That's gonna help a little bit though when you're playing baseball because, because in some ways, well, at least I'm thinking because if your game's at 7, like hypothetically, if you play at 7 o'clock, hypothetically, if you wake up at like 7 in the morning and then you're up all day, or if you wake up a little bit later, I would feel like your body's kind of the middle, like if you're up for, like, I don't know, if you're up for 14 hours, hypothetically, or you're up for 16 hours or whatever, I would assume you want to be pitching when you're kind of in the middle of those 16 hours and not near the end of those 16 hours.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys that's like, I'm always tired until I have to do something. So like once, like I kind of like get energy to, like I build up energy to do something. So like I'll be sitting in our team stretch and I'll be yawning. I'll be stretching like the just get out of bed stretch. But yeah, no. I think once I start moving around, I'm good.
So then I don't know if you would have had to deal with this because I know I feel like it's more of a Salem thing, at least when I'm watching the games. But sometimes there's 4 minor league games going on at the same time. They blend together. I know Salem has a decent handful of 11 a.m. games. Have you had any 11 a.m. games this year? And how miserable are those? Because even like when I was in high school, I remember when we would have like the Saturday basketball game at 11 a.m. and my body just wasn't. I could have woken up at 5 a.m. and still my body felt like it was not ready to play a sport.
Yeah, I haven't had one since I want to say I was in Carolina. We had a noon game my last start. So that was a fun day game. It was hot and very humid. But my last 2 outings, no, my first 2 outings in Carolina were both 11 a.m. games. It was education day on Tuesday, and then on Sunday it was obviously getaway day. So I pitched on Tuesday, Sunday against Delmarva, and the first one did not go great. Not a great debut at home.
On the kind of day game thing, is it a like a day game after like a night game? Because like sometimes I remember Salem had like a 11 o'clock game on like a Wednesday one time, and they like obviously the night before I think they played at like 6:45 I think was the start time. Are those like day game after night games actually like miserable? Because
yes. leading up to the games, yes, but once the game starts, you kind of get into a groove and just watch the game, and it's fine.
The nice thing is then you have the whole day.
That is,
if the game's at 11, the game's over at 2, and then you're chilling.
Yeah,
I think someone brought that up when we had them on. I think there was someone who definitely brought that up. I don't remember who, but we definitely had someone bring that up.
It's not bad. There's ups and downs to it. There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
In your defense, that second Delmarva game was great.
Yes.
So
yes,
you figured out those 11 a.m. games quickly.
Yeah. No, that first one was tough. I found out they were just sitting on off speed for some reason. Like my first outing, I was like 90 or 85% fastballs, and for some reason, all they were doing was sitting on off speed. And so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep throwing fastballs.
That I don't know why that feels like a very counterproductive approach.
No.
You would think if you're sitting on off speed, you're never gonna hit a fastball, and then the guy's throwing fastball. I don't know. I would think you would switch your approach. I don't know. That's just me.
It was crazy. It was a crazy game.
My last question. We have kind of going kind of back to the teammate route of questions. My last question. We had CT on, Christopher Troy on, and he was our first guest 2 years ago. And it was funny because when he was on, I think he mentioned after we finished, he was going to get steaks. I think it was him, Blaze Jordan, Marcelo Meyer, and I think that there might have been someone else there.
I think there was someone else.
I think there was someone else. Do you kind of have like a group of people that you just like consistently like that's your group where like after games or on like a Monday during your off day that you kind of hang out with?
No, not really. I like to hang out with everybody. I think whoever's my roommate at the time, whoever they hang out with is probably who I hang out with the most. But yeah, no, I don't really have like a set group.
That's a very it's a good way to go about it in some ways because you're not limiting yourself in some ways too because it's actually it's one of the sad truths about minor league baseball, not to get all depressing, but some of the sad truth is like not everyone makes it to the big leagues, and it's kind of thing, and also too not everyone's going to stay with that team, and like just of the group I just brought up, CT, Blaze Jordan, Marcelo Meyer, don't remember who, but out of those three, only Marcelo is still with the org, which it's kind of like it's like one of those, Blaze Jordan. We're hoping he gets a chance. Another friend of the show. We are collecting our friends of the show. Every time someone gets like has like a good week or whatever, we're just like friend of the show. Here we go.
I will say you have that going for you. Is every time we have someone on, their next outing is phenomenal. So
that's
good. I'm expecting 7 shot from you next time.
Oh, okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
7 no-hit innings. No pressure.
No pressure. Hunter, do you have anything else?
I think I'm good.
All right. John, we are very thankful for having you on. Is there anything you want to shout out of your own, any social media or whatever, or just anything?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. We thank you very much for your time. Hunter and I will consider you on the back half of this episode on the minor league show, but we do on the regular scheduled minor league show. But John, once again, thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Thanks, man.
And we are back now for our regularly scheduled minor league portion. Hunter and I are kind of just going to continue where we would typically pick up. We'll just give a little shout out to Jake. We were just joking. We don't want the show to go 5 hours, but now I kind of want it to, just to see Jake's reaction. This will not be 5 hours long. Maybe the next time we don't have Jake, we will go 5 hours. Just see what Jake's reaction is. I'd also like to see maybe what Jordan's reaction to that would be. I filled in for Jordan on the weekend show yesterday. I thought we went long because we went like an hour and 40, and I was thinking we probably were only going to go like maybe an hour. And we went like an hour 40, and I texted Jordan. I'm like, yeah, we went like an hour 40. We went a lot longer than I was thinking. He's like, oh, no, we typically go an hour 40. I'm like, okay, that feels good to know because I felt like we went really long and not in a bad way. But I feel like for whatever reason, I always end up going long. We had Jordan, myself, and Kevin had the IKF episode. Iconic episode. With that, though, we're going to run down the line. We're going to start in Worcester. I think we have to start. Let's start with Peyton Tolley. 5 innings this week for Tolley, 3 hits, no runs, just the 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. Hunter, obviously Tolley's first start, if you're just looking at the box score, obviously underwhelming. But I think there were a lot of positives to kind of take away from that first start, and he really kind of looked more like Peyton Tolley in terms of if you're just box score watching. But he had a very good performance on the mound.
Yeah, that so his first AAA inning ever, he gave up 6 runs, 5 earned. And we talked about it extensively last week. Obviously, the 2 home runs were hit very hard, but a lot of that inning was not his fault. He should have gotten out of it with 0 runs. Mikey Romero, who's usually a very good defensive infielder, had an error on a play that should have been a double play ball. Then came a 70-mile-an-hour single, and then there was a grand slam. And then he gave up a quote-unquote single that should have been an error on Trace Thompson, also usually a very good defensive outfielder. And then he gives up a 2-run homer. So just a really rough first inning. Since then, he 6 runs in 1 inning, and then he threw 4 shutout innings the rest of the way. And then this week, he threw 5 shutout innings. So really bad first inning. Since then, 9 shutout innings in AAA. This week, absurd, 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He hit, I think, 98.6 is what he topped out on the fastball. he threw 7. He only needed 71 pitches to get through 5 innings. Again, it really feels like the Red Sox are limiting that pitch count either to just keep him not too crazy. Like he's already thrown just about as many innings as he's ever thrown in his career in a single season, counting college. Obviously, this is his first professional season. But also there is the question of, are they lowering that pitch count to get him ready for a bullpen role in September, which would be, I think everybody's wet dream at this point would be seeing Peyton Tolley up in the majors. I don't even think it was the 98.6 mile an hour fastball. I think it was, he had a 98.1 mile an hour fastball that it was just like paint on the outside for strike 3, that when I posted it, people were going freaking nuts. They were like, someone literally said, like, I think this is the first time a fastball ever made me say Jesus. Like it does not look, it's crazy to say it doesn't look like it's 98 because 98 is absurdly fast, but it still looks so much faster. Like it genuinely looks like a 115 mile an hour pitch. And it's that extension. He's got movement on it. It's so hard not to get excited, like not to get overly excited about Peyton Tolley. Like you try to kind of stay grounded a little bit when it comes to prospects. You try to. We've had issues in the past with someone like it was very hard to stay grounded with Roman Anthony, and 2 months into his major league career, that feels justified. The dude has like a 407 on base percentage, which is bonkers. And it feels very similar with Peyton Tolley, where it's like he has that first inning in AAA, and people are like, "All right, this is why you need to stay grounded." And then since then, it's just been like, "Oh wait, never mind." He's absurd. Like he's making, the Iowa Cubs are a ridiculously talented AAA team. They have top prospects. Obviously, Owen Casey isn't there anymore. He's up in the majors. He should have been there a while ago. I'm a little confused with what took so long. And then I've seen a lot of Cubs fans complaining the same way Red Sox fans have in the past, with maybe not so much with Roman Anthony, because we didn't see it as much with Roman Anthony, but with like Marcelo Meyer, where it was like, why call him up and then you are platooning him? Like, what are we doing here? He got called up, played 1 game, and then sat for like 3 straight games, and Cubs fans were not happy. But even with Owen Casey gone, the Iowa Cubs have a ridiculously talented roster. They have
Moises Ballesteros is there.
Yeah, Moises Ballesteros, who is hitting like 320 in AAA. He got a cup of coffee in the majors. He's going to be a very good hitting catcher. If he stays at catcher, that's his issue, is his defense isn't great. But they have like Nicky Lopez is good. Chase Strump, James Triantos is a very good prospect. Kevin Alcantara, a very good prospect. Like they have a lot of really talented offensive players, and Peyton Tolley made them look stupid. Like it's not like he racked up the strikeouts. 5 strikeouts in 5 innings isn't anything crazy, but it was all just such overpowering stuff. Like very rarely did a hitter look comfortable against him. I don't know if we're going to get him in the majors this year. Like I said before, it feels like the pitch count and everything, it feels like they might be working towards that. But it's so hard to not envision Peyton Tolley coming out of the bullpen in September, October, coming in for 1 or 2 innings, throwing 99, maybe hitting 100.
And Peyton
because that's
Tolley
when he gets
starts Game
loose.
7 of the World Series.
That would be crazy. But that's the thing, is everyone keeps talking about him in a bullpen role, which makes sense. I don't think it's completely out of the question that he comes up to start. I really don't.
So I'll roll with you kind of my hot take. I think he makes his big league debut in the postseason. I think he's.
Is that what David Price did?
I think so.
I don't think he pitched in. I don't know though, because I think,
and it's very doable because the rule exception is, even if he's not on the 40-man, he would basically be replacing the like active roster spot of someone who's served their time on the injured list. So like they could put him on the roster for Liam Hendricks. Yeah, they could put him on the roster for Liam Hendricks, who, let's be honest, I don't care what he says, he's not pitching this. He's not pitching this year. He's done.
I like David. Now I'm thinking David Price. I like Liam Hendricks as a person. He seems like one of the coolest people in the world.
Yeah, he's done.
I feel like the Red Sox and him have not been on the same page all year.
No,
like for a single second, I don't think they've been on the same page.
No, Well, like, because we'll talk to like bring up like Kyle Harrison as well. Like that's another guy who maybe gets a shot down the stretch, especially if Walker Buehler struggles. Maybe he gets demoted to the bullpen. I could even see Dustin May in the bullpen in the postseason, and because your three like you could Crochet,
you don't have a 5-man rotation in
no.
postseason.
Well, the wild card series is only 3 games, so you don't need 4 starters anyways. But like we saw with the Dodgers last year, they really had 3 starters and figure it out, right?
Yeah,
like.
Dustin May out of the bullpen might be gross.
Exactly. And I mean, all the talk about, maybe Dustin May's first start, he looked good early and then faded. Well, if he's in the bullpen, you don't have to worry about him fading.
Let him go out there for 2 innings and just throw his grossest stuff. And I feel like that would be nasty.
Yeah, and it's like, and the thing is too, it's like when you get to the postseason, it's not really about who starts; it's just get the 27 outs. But that's where I think guys like Tolley, guys like Kyle Harrison, right, maybe become extra valuable. Sandlin, if he gets a chance, right? I know he struggled a little bit out of the bullpen. He's been moved to kind of a pure reliever role, which I don't think he's ever done that.
Nope,
not at least
never.
So it is definitely
he never came out of the bullpen in the Royals organization. And this is the first year he's ever come out of the bullpen in the Red Sox organization. And the first 2 times in AA were piggyback roles.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like not as a non-piggyback.
This is so this is his first time ever being like an actual reliever.
Which is definitely a kind of a learning curve. On Kyle Harrison, like he had 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Did walk 4, but 8 strikeouts, right? And also did hit a batter, but like going out the 5 innings, only the 1 hit, no runs. Like it feels
Especially,
like Kyle Harris. It's like against this kind of Iowa Cubs team, and it feels like Harrison's really, really starting to turn a corner. And I don't want to like get Red Sox fans too like overly hyped about Harrison and Tolley, but you have 2 lefties with really good fastballs in AAA. It's literally for both of them. Although Tolley's fastball might be even better than Harrison's. And Harrison's fastball was one of the best of the National League.
Harrison's fastball is very good.
His fastball was one of the best in the National League. As one of the best pitches in the National League last year.
Obviously, at the beginning of this podcast, we were talking to John Holobetz, and when you asked him about what pitch he would take, the first thing out of his mouth was Peyton Tolley's fastball. I genuinely think a lot of Did I get kicked?
I just lost you. You froze for a second for me.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I genuinely think if you asked major league pitchers, a semi-decent amount of them might consider saying Peyton Tolley's fastball. Like I genuinely just think it's that good. It's absurd. Obviously, we've only seen it against minor league pitchers or hitters, but it doesn't matter who it's up against. It's still going to attack the hitter the same way.
Yeah, and I think too, like the fact that we're talking, Tolley has a better fastball than Kyle Harrison. Like Kyle Harrison's fastball was one of the best pitches in the National League last year based on run value. And we're saying Tolley has a better fastball than that, right? Obviously, you still need secondaries, but chuck both of them on the postseason roster for the Red Sox. You got 2 lefties with real good fastballs out of the bullpen. I mean, the Red Sox, they would have a ton of lefties, but like, it's still like it. It's all for them. Like you start looking towards next year, and you start kind of piecing together the Red Sox rotation for next year, and you go, and you definitely could picture a rotation at some point next year where it's like Crochet, Tolley, and Harrison are all involved, and it's like, it's like that's just disgusting. Like,
and I mean, even for the postseason, we were talking before about how you don't have 5-man rotations. The Red Sox have their 3 guys. They have Crochet, Brian Bayo, Lucas Giolito, and then if you need a 4th starter, you figure, and that's what the 2004 Red Sox did. It was like, oh, we need Derek Lowe, so Derek Lowe will start. Like, he wasn't like this exceptional pitcher at the time. It was, he became a legend, and don't get me wrong, he had good years in the past. He had thrown a no-hitter, I think, in 2003. I used to have the newspaper clipping somewhere. I'm sure I could still find it in like an old trunk or something of when David Lowe threw a no-hitter.
You mean Derek Lowe?
Derek Lowe. Yeah, Derek Lowe. Who the hell is David Lowe? You have your 3 guys, and then if you need a 4th, you figure that out.
Yeah. Or you do what the Dodgers did, start Ryan Brazier in an elimination game and win.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously that's not the best strategy. Like it worked for them.
But it worked.
But okay, so first off, Derek Lowe had a 5.42 ERA in 2004, and he made it work. And that's the thing, is if you have all these options after those 3 games, I feel like Crochet, you can kind of guess he's going to get you 7+ innings because he's Garrett freaking Crochet. He's the pig. And then Brian Bayo's going to get you 6+ innings. They're probably going to be really good. And then there's like a 75% chance Lucas Giolito is going to get you 6-7 innings. He's been mostly phenomenal all year. So then it's like, hey, that 4th game, that 5th game, or that 4th game, and then, Crochet's probably ready by the 5th game because you have the off day and everything.
Yep.
Maybe it's 4 days rest, but again, it's Garrett Crochet. He's going to pitch and he's going to shove. Like that 4th game, it's like, hey, we'll go Dustin May for 2 innings or until the wheels fall off. Maybe he ends up giving us 5 shutout innings. Awesome. If not, we have Peyton Tolley who can get us 5 innings if we need. We have Kyle Harrison who can get us 5 innings if we need.
And God forbid you just need someone to eat innings. Like you have Walker
like you
Buehler.
have these options to eat innings, and if you don't need them to eat innings, it's just like, all right, then we have Kyle Harrison go out there for 2 gross innings, and then we have Peyton Tolley go out there for 2 gross innings.
Buehler was good down the stretch for the Dodgers, like in the postseason last year, like in the World Series. Like that World Series performance Buehler had, was like a big reason he got that the deal he did in the offseason, right? And we know how Alex Cora likes using starters in the postseason. I mean, we saw it with Nick Pivetta, we saw it with Nathan Eovaldi, right? Like, it's a lot of teams are trying to build these super bullpens like the Yankees. The Red Sox might have their own super rotation, except it's just they're moving the starters into the bullpen, and when it comes time for the postseason, because you really don't need. But I mean, also, the Tigers made a run last year with Tariq Skubal and a hope and a prayer, right?
Yeah,
it was Skubal and.
I don't want the Red Sox. Eduardo Rodriguez on the team, or was he in Arizona last year too?
He wasn't. Eduardo Rodriguez hasn't been on the Red Sox since like 20.
No, the Tigers.
Oh, he was on. No, he wasn't on the Tigers last year.
He wasn't. Okay,
I don't think so.
I don't think he was either. I feel like he had signed with the Diamondbacks the year before. But I also, for some reason, feel like Red Sox fans were talking about signing him this offseason, but I could be wrong. Either way, I liked Eduardo Rodriguez. It worked out that they didn't sign him because he has had a miserable year. But I also I don't
Arizona
want
last year. He was with Arizona last year. He got hurt though. He only pitched in 10 games.
I don't want the Red Sox
10 games, 10 games, 50 innings for Erod. That just 5 innings on exactly right on the dot, just steady.
Well, that's classic Erod, so that makes sense. I feel like he was a big proponent of 5 exact innings, but I don't want the Red Sox associated anything with the Yankees. I don't want Yankees super bullpen connected to the Red Sox at all, because that has been the 6-pack of ass. The Yankees super bullpen has been god awful.
That is true.
But as for Kyle Harrison, it's not just this start. Like, he's looked much better in AAA the last few times. He had a rough outing on July 27th, but he was really good the 2 previous outings from that. And like his last 2 outings, so obviously, like you mentioned, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 8 strikeouts. He did walk 4. But the outing before that was 5 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Like we are getting, or we are seeing the massive steps forward for Kyle Harrison. And it's something we've talked about a lot, especially those first few starts when he was struggling mightily. It was like, hey, they sent him down there to work on things. Like this is what we all should have expected. He went down there and they were like, we're changing things about these 3 pitches, and you're learning this pitch, and you're doing this new with your arm slot, whatever it is. Like, it's not shocking that things did not start off well. And it seems like he's starting to figure things out. And the walks aren't great. I think that's been like the big thing that the detractors are still pointing to, like, hey, you can't be walking that many people, but he's figuring things out. He's limiting contact. The 1 hit he gave up this week was like a 75-mile-an-hour single. And that's something we've seen with him a lot, even early on. It was like, man, a lot of these hits are not hit very hard. So we're seeing the very clear improvements with Kyle Harrison. I still don't know if he's going to be a guy this year. I could see them just kind of wanting to have him continue to work on things and then figure it out in the offseason. But he is quickly becoming a very legitimate option. Like, if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, I probably would have been like, no, Kyle Harrison's they're gonna just keep working on things. But with how good he's looked lately, he is someone that they have to at least be considering.
Yeah, and it doesn't help too in terms like someone doesn't help that he's lefty, but also too like guys like Bernardino have just been overworked this year, right?
Yeah.
So like in some way, both Harrison and Tolley, both them being lefties, makes it like seem a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, too, when you get to the postseason, you have 13 pitchers on your roster. I mean, like, okay, like if the Red Sox were to only have 3 dedicated starters, that means you have 10 guys in the bullpen. If 4 or 5 of them are lefties, like one of those lefties is Chapman, which basically is negligible because he's the closer, right? So it's kind of like, does it really matter that you have that many lefties? Like I don't think it ends up being as big a deal.
Also, if they're good enough, who cares?
Exactly.
Like,
that's the other point I was going to bring up.
Like, is anyone going to be mad if Chapman isn't getting the quote unquote best matchups for him just because he's a lefty and maybe he has to face a righty who hits lefties? It's like, no, it's Aroldis Chapman. Who cares? He's going to get him out.
Exactly.
And like, obviously, that doesn't mean Peyton Tolley is going to go into the bullpen and be Aroldis Chapman. But the point is, matchups obviously are important, but if they're good enough, it negates a lot of the negativity of that.
Yeah, it's like imagine going like being a team and being like, no, I don't want like Chapman and Josh Hader and this guy and that guy and I don't want any of those guys I don't want all those guys in my bullpen because they all throw left-handed. It's like, are you stupid? like, I think you do want them. When you're as good as Chapman's been this year, it doesn't really matter. On the hitting side of things in Worcester, Johanfran Garcia had a good week. He went 9 for 26, a double, a homer, 7 RBIs. He did strike out 11 times, but he had 2 walks. Johanfran's interesting because the Willier injury, but not being on the injured list, some people maybe thought, oh, if Willier's going to be out, maybe he gets a chance. I don't think.
Especially with Refsnyder going down too.
Yeah, I think that was the most shocking one with Refsnyder going down. But at the same time, I think the Red Sox are in this weird, like they're in the spot where, like they can just slide Rafaela right back to the outfield and don't really. So they're in, and I guess Yoshida could play outfield too if needed. I guess, right?
He's done it a little bit.
Yeah, and like, not to say like Garcia's not going to get past, but like Christian Campbell's starting to see a little more time in the outfield, albeit because they need to get David Hamilton playing time at second, and Justinson played first, right? So he
looked good there too. He only played 1 game, obviously, but he looked fine. Like, and
they're not like so it's not them saying, oh, we're playing Campbell in the outfield because we think we're going to need him in the outfield, but if Campbell is the guy that gets moved up, like he can play first, second, and the outfield. We see Nate Eaton getting moved up, right? So I think Garcia's path for this year, at very least, is like definitely blocked, just because it's kind of just crowded. But that doesn't like mean he's having. It's not. I don't know. He's not being like him not getting to the big leagues isn't because he's struggling or anything. He's playing really well. It's just there isn't really a spot for him. There's too many outfielders. Really,
it's
what it is.
Like, I don't think it's completely impossible for him to make his major league debut this year, but I do agree. It's like, for one thing, I think the only way that happens is like when Refsnyder went down and the announcement came like, hey, they signed Nate Lowe, good signing. I like it. And the other thing was Rob Refsnyder to 10-day and Nate Eaton got called up. And there were people like, why not Johanfran Garcia? What's going on? I think the only way Johanfran Garcia will get called up is if people are out for extended period of time. Like, they're not going to be like, oh, we need someone for 10 games. Let's call up Johanfran Garcia. Let's start his major league clock. And then he's not even going to play every day. Maybe if they were out of the playoff race, they would do that, and they'd be like, oh, let's see what we got with Johanfran Garcia, especially if. To
be fair, they called up Meyer and then platooned him, so like.
Yes.
Nothing's out of the question.
But I also still feel like
I know what you're saying.
Semi out of necessity, because it was like, hey, Alex Bregman's out for a while. And I also still just don't really agree with how they used Marcelo Meyer. I thought that whole situation was a little strange. But like, I feel like Christian Campbell's probably ahead of him in terms of if someone's going to get called up. And like you mentioned, he can play more positions. Obviously, Yastinson Garcia is just starting first base, but it's not like they're going to call him up tomorrow and be like, hey, you're now platooning first base with Nate Lowe. Like, that's not happening. Whereas Christian Campbell, they could be like, hey, you're going to get time at first. You're going to get time at second. You're going to get time in the outfield, whatever it is. Yastinson Garcia
also,
right
Abraham
now.
Toro's still around right now as well. So.
Yes. As of right
For
now. Yeah. As of right now, Yastinson Garcia would be strictly outfield. And there's just so many outfielders on the roster. So the only way I see him getting promoted is if, God forbid, 2 guys go down and it's like, hey, they're out for the rest of the season. He's been awesome, obviously, 308, 372, 370, 573 slash line is absurd in AAA. He's got 17 homers at the level. He's driven in 56 runs. Like, he's been absurd. He plays a really good defensive outfield. And I get it. I get the frustration from people of seeing this guy just continue to rake in AAA. But it's like the one of the big things I always see is like, oh man, he's doing this. Meanwhile, Yoshida's giving us nothing on the major league roster. I know some people don't want to hear it, but Masataka Yoshida's been more than fine. Like, yeah, he doesn't really play defense, but the bat's been fine. He's been giving them offensive production since the beginning of August.
Masa is like the king of like the grounder to move a guy over or like
yes,
sack fly.
Yes, but like he had the 2-run single the other day, and I saw someone complaining that it was a ground ball through the infield, and I was like, when did we start caring the quality of the hit? It was still a 2-run single.
No, those are the same type of people that they'll complain about the quality that it wasn't hit hard, but then like they'll box score watch and someone might have like hit 110 mile per hour lineouts, but they don't care.
Yeah, the guy I was literally gonna say, and then I'll tweet out like, oh, Christian Campbell just got robbed of a hit on 112 mile an hour line drive to left, and they'll be like, who cares? It wasn't a hit, and I'm like, I don't know what you want, man. You complained about the exit velocity of a hit, and then you said the exit velocity of an out doesn't matter. I don't know what you want anymore. Because I see the same thing with Christian Campbell. He'll get an RBI single to right, and people are somehow still complaining that it was a hit to right. And I'm like, I don't care, man. He made contact.
Oh, the pitch was only 92. It's like, that's not his fault. Like, that's got nothing to do with him.
Yeah, he can't tell the pitcher, hey, man, you got to throw this 98 on my hands so I can prove to everyone I can hit it.
Well, right? I don't like, it's like the pitcher's going to be like, yo, I can't throw 98. I only top out at 93. Like,
I'm a 34-year-old in AAA for a reason, man.
I'm a 34-year-old lefty who's a finesse reliever. Okay. Like, I only throw 89.
But like,
I only threw 92 in my prime. I'm here because I'm not Clayton Kershaw. I can't do it. I'm not good. My 88 doesn't go. This is not Clayton Kershaw's 88. It's 88 poo right down the middle.
But Yoshida's been good enough for them, so it's like I don't think he's been the black hole that some people still think he is. It's very much the first impressions thing.
Like 4th and 5th has maybe kind of made the impression that he's kind of not playing as well as he is, just because it's like you see like Roman Anthony, Bregman, Durant, Story, like it feels like they've all been hot at least at some point as of late.
Yeah,
and if not consistent, they've been hot, right? Story sometimes he might get like have a few cold games and he starts to heat up again, right? Whereas Yoshida's just kind of been like Yoshida right now feels like what Eduardo Rodriguez felt like in the rotation at times, where he's just steady. Like, yeah, he's not going to blow your
steadily
socks off.
Solid. Yeah, he's not overwhelming or anything. But
like if Yoshida was hitting 7th, I feel like people would not. It would not be such a big deal.
Yeah. Also, just if there weren't 1,000 options in the system.
Yeah. Like if he was, I think people make the issue about his contract, and because I do want to bring this up because I mentioned this yesterday in the weekend show because this came up about Vaughn Grissom. Once you're in the org, what they're paying you doesn't really matter. Like, might you get a little bit more of a leash? Yes, but like for Vaughn Grissom, like they traded Chris Sale for him. Okay, cool. That's not going to get him any extra chances.
Yeah,
like they don't care if he's not performing. He's not going to get called up to the big leagues.
Yeah,
it doesn't. Oh well, he was in the Chris Sale trade. They need to save the Chris Sale trade. No, they don't. They absolutely do not. Like that's in the past.
Yeah,
right. And if you want your team to do that, you're asking your team to lose, right? Which in some ways too is like people with Christian Campbell. It's like, well, he's in AAA in the contract. It's like that's got nothing to do. Like the contract's signed, it's done, it's in place, right? Like it's got nothing to do with anything right now. And he's still only on like league minimum anyway. So this year, so they're not paying him $20 million to sit in AAA. They're not Rusney Castilloing him.
King.
So it would have been a good big league player. Would have been.
I agree.
Absolutely would have been. Other than that, we'll just know Nate Eaton did have a good week. 10 for 22 with 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 homers, and 2 stolen bases as well. So he had a good week, and now
he's a more than fine depth guy for the Red Sox.
It's funny that he's DHing tonight, though. I did find that hilarious. It's like, oh, Nate Eaton's DH. Like, it's so weird seeing a Nate Eaton DH. If that feels like something the Rays would do. Just like you call up someone from AAA, and then of all the places you can put them, and Nate Eaton is not a bad defensive player either, right? So of all the places you put him, yeah, he's gonna DH. It's like you could have spelled Bregman a game at third. You know?
Yeah. Then just the only other note I had AAA wise was just Mikey Romero, 5 for 22. Not a great week, but he did have a double, a homer, and he drove in 8 runs. So he's been driving in a decent amount of runs, which he didn't get a ton of chances to do in Portland just because that offense wasn't particularly exciting, and because he was leading off basically every game in Portland. So he was usually setting the table for other people, and now he's kind of batting around like the 6 range in Worcester, which is giving him much more chances to drive in runs, and he's been doing a phenomenal job of it.
Yeah. On to Portland. Alan Castro had a good week. Love ourselves some Alan Castro, obviously. 6 for 20, 3 doubles, no RBIs, which is kind of unfortunate. 6 walks to 6 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases as well. Just, hey, Alan Castro fan club. If some team picks him in the Rule 5 draft, they deserve to be kicked out of the league. Like, the owners should all vote to kick them out. Just like if the Phillies take Noah Song, Dombrowski should be forced to resign.
I don't want them to. For one thing,
we're on Portland real quick. Can I make this statement?
Yeah,
I talked to Jason about this earlier. The Red Sox should put Noah Song in AAA right now.
I agree.
He's 28 years old. It's not going to make a difference if someone's going to take him in the Rule 5. Dave Dombrowski, they're going to take him anyways.
Yeah.
Right. So why don't you put him in AAA? If he sucks, he sucks. But you know what? If he's good, maybe he becomes the reliever option down the stretch even. Maybe he pitches good and you go, you know what? We're going to add him to the 40-man, give him a shot in spring training.
Yeah, I'm genuinely shocked he has not been promoted to AAA yet. Because he was promoted to AA. I don't want to say aggressively because it was no surprise that he was called up to AA. But he was called up to AA more than long ago enough where when it happened, I was like, okay, he'll be in AAA in a month. And then he'll be an option. Yeah, and he's been good. Like, he got rocked like once or twice.
Also, he's 28 years old. You have nothing to lose. He's 28 years old. Like, you're gonna keep him there till he's 30. Like, come on. Like, whatever. Like, it's at the point too with Song where it's like if you're not gonna move him up, what's the point of him being in the org? It is almost what's the point of him being there?
But Portland's offense this year, especially recently, has been poopy. I will say.
Ronaldo Hernandez hit a homer, so
yes, they started the year with Blaze Jordan and Johanfran Garcia. Obviously, both of them get promoted at some point to AAA. Blaze Jordan obviously ends up getting traded, and then they have Mikey Romero. He gets promoted at the trade deadline. James Tibbs gets shipped out at the trade deadline. Zach Earhart gets shipped out at the trade deadline, and those were like most of their good hitters, most of their like above average hitters. Alan Castro.
Mikey Romero gets moved up to Worcester.
Yeah, Alan Castro's hitting 258, I think, something in AA, and he is the only hitter on the team hitting over 230. It's like Abram Liendo, I think, is hitting like 220 something, and Marvin Alcantara might be hitting 220 something. I think there's one other person hitting 220 something, like Carson Seamus or somebody who hasn't had a ton of at bats either way.
In Portland, Alcantara is sitting 227.
Okay. Yeah. It's there's a lot of guys in that lineup who are hitting 200 or sub 200. And this week, I tweeted something out about how my quote unquote hot take was that by the end of the year, the Red Sox fans would say that they won the Quinn Priester trade, just because it seems like that kind of shifted because Quinn Priester was pitching good for the Brewers. And we all talked about this before, and I was on Not Another Sox podcast last night. Shout out to them. They're awesome. And we were talking about the trade, and I said how I feel bad because Quinn Priester seems like a good dude. I don't think he's a terrible pitcher or anything, but I feel like I keep getting forced to kind of crap on him a little bit because fans are kind of turning on the trade a bit. And then
we have to be honest about what Quinn Priester is, though.
Yeah. And then
that's the issue.
Like when I tweeted it out, a Yankees fan quote tweeted it, and he was like, "Oh, Red Sox fans will keep saying that they won the Quinn Priester trade, even though they gave up a great pitcher, but then they think that they won the ERC Carlos Narvaez trade." I was like, I didn't say this because I've learned to not comment back to trolls. I'm getting better at it. But first off, Carlos Narvaez is like a Gold Glove catcher and is like top 3 rookie of the year running. Quinn Priester is a solid pitcher, and it was like my point on the tweet was overall the numbers are pretty solid. Like he has like a 3.5 ERA. That's good. It's not insane or anything, but it's good.
Under the hood, though, it looks worse.
The bigger thing is he has like a 4.3 FIP, not good. And he has like a 7.4 K per 9. Miserable.
Also, ground ball pitcher on a Red Sox team that
was my other point
has had its woes.
Yeah, the fly balls at Fenway are going to go out more than they go out in Milwaukee, and
Milwaukee has a really good infield defense as well.
And and he would be playing with the Red Sox infield defense, which is shaky at best compared to the Brewers defense, which has like Joey Ortiz in it and stuff, like a much better infield defense.
So when people wanted Hauser at the deadline, I went, he's literally Quinn Priester, except better or worse depending on if you looked at his ERA or advanced numbers.
Yeah.
Hauser's under the hood numbers were worse than Priester's. And people were acting like he was like some people. I saw some people saying he would have been the second best option at the deadline. He would have been like second, but he would have been right behind Merrill Kelly. And I'm like, yeah, no.
But Portland was playing Somerset this week, last week, I guess. And when he tweeted this out to me, when he tweeted out complaining about it, I looked at the schedule and I was like, crap, ERC pitches against Portland in 2 days. ERC's been really good in Double-A for Somerset this year. And I was like, he's going to throw 7 shutout innings and get like 12 strikeouts just because this Portland lineup's not great. That is the first game I've seen from ERC all year, like the first full game that I've watched from him. We always liked ERC and everything, but we always said that there were the clear issues with him, which was like he throws 98, but the fastball just does not move. The command's not great. Even when he's not walking a ton of people, he would leave pitches over the plate. He would get hit hard. All those problems still exist. He has like a 1.8 ERA with Portland or with Somerset. He's been awesome. Portland hit him around, man. He lasted 4 innings. He gave up like 8 hits. Gave up 3 runs, 2 earned. Should have been a lot more. There was a point in the game where Portland hit back-to-back doubles and didn't score. Brooks Brannon hit like a 410-foot double high off the center field wall, and Tyler Miller did not score from second because he did not read the ball well at all and was standing on second when the ball was hit, when the ball bounced back to the catcher or the center fielder and then started running. And then he ended up not scoring that inning. They ran into multiple outs. Someone got thrown out at home on a wild pitch. It was not the finest. At one point, like Miguel Blaze got thrown out at second on a single again off the center field wall because for some reason no one was moving. It was poor offense or poor base running, but they did not have issues with him. Tyler Miller had a 4-hit game. Marvin Alcantara had a 3-hit game. Alan Castro, I think, had 2 hits. Like they kept the line moving. It was great to see. I was very shocked with how good the offense looked. And two of those guys that I just mentioned, Miguel Blaze, I think, had a two-hit game. But two of those guys I just mentioned, Marvin Alcantara, finished the week with back-to-back 3-hit games. That's awesome. He is, again, I mentioned it last week. He's one of those guys that happened to me with like Nelly Taylor and Juan Montero last year, where when we talked to Liam Carroll, he brought them up as like these clubhouse leaders and stuff. And then all of a sudden I felt myself much more invested in what they were doing, because I was like, oh man, we were told by their coach, like, hey, these guys are awesome. And that's what he just did to us with Marvin Alcantara this year. Is he mentioned him as, just a gamer, a clubhouse guy, a leader, does whatever he needs to do for the team. So it's fun to see him succeeding in Double-A. Does not have a ton of power. He just has 2 homers on the year between High A and Double-A. But he's a really good defender. He can move on the base paths. He doesn't strike out a ton. It's good to see him picking it up at the plate, especially just for a Portland team that needs offense. And then
like
Tyler Miller,
be one of those. I just want to say real quick on Alcantara.
Yeah.
He feels like he's going to be one of those guys who, at worst, is going to be like AAA depth at worst.
Yeah,
because of the defense. And
anyone with a glove like him, Abram Liendo, I feel like are guys who the glove and the speed will get them at least to the point of sitting in AAA and giving you performances. It's something that we've seen with like Philip Sykes. He's a really good defensive outfielder. He's got some speed, and it's like that will carry you places. That will get you up to the high minors. And then Tyler Miller, 4-hit performance on Saturday. He went 6 for 12 with a double, a walk, and an RBI on the week. Only hitting 195 on the year, but he's had like a weird season. Just wasn't getting consistent playing time for a while, with Portland having a bunch of different people. Obviously, like Blaze Jordan was there for a while, kind of just taking up a lot of his playing time. And then he was dealing with injuries and stuff. Now he's healthy. Now he's on a roster, which will probably see him playing basically every game. I wouldn't be shocked if he has a couple more big performances and he gets those numbers up a semi-decent amount to end the year. But he's someone who I think can really help stabilize that offense.
Definitely. Moving on to I do want to before we on the pitcher side, Juan Chacon had 4 hits this week, went 4 for 8 with a double, and he also had 3 walks. So shout out Juan Chacon. And Max Ferguson, only 3 hits and 19 at bats, but he drew 5 walks and had 3 stolen bases. But let's move on to the pitching side of things. Obviously, John Holobetz had him on the show, obviously. So I once again will thank him for his time. Obviously, he's not here anymore. He obviously, as we mentioned, the 6 2/3 innings, 4 hits, just the 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, just the 1 walk. But it was a very solid week between Hayden Mullins. He went 6 innings, only the 1 run. Dalton Rogers had 5 1/3 with only 1 run. And then I know he's not a starter, but Cooper Adams had 2 appearances where he went a combined 5 innings, only giving up 1 run. And he had 7 strikeouts and no walks in them. And then I'll even bring up Noah Song. 4 innings this week, 5 hits. But no walks for Noah Song is a big one. He had 4 strikeouts and just the 1 run that he gave up. So it was a very solid week in Portland pitching-wise, which I feel like it is almost every week of the season. I'm now realizing this is the first show that I've been on that doesn't have Tolley, since Tolley's been in AAA. So I don't get to. I was just thinking. I'm like, wait, where's Tolley? And I'm like, no, he's in Worcester now. But no, Mullins just continues to be kind of the unsung hero almost of the pitching staff. He in Double-A. He's got 65 in the 3rd innings. He's got a 2.20 ERA. Overall for the season, he's got a 1.97 ERA between Greenville and Portland. Hayden Mullins, it wouldn't shock me at this point if he got like a late call up to Worcester. I would be shocked if he starts next year in Portland with how good he's pitching.
I would be shocked if he starts next year in the Red Sox system.
Well, there's also that too.
He's 40. He is Rule 5 eligible, unless the Red Sox 40-man him. But the issue is they just have so many good pitching prospects.
Hey, Joe Ryan. Yeah.
But yeah,
Minnesota. You like Hayden Mullins?
He feels like a very big trade candidate because of that. which sucks. He's been phenomenal. But it's a numbers
I could see
game.
them 40 manning him. I could see it.
It wouldn't completely shock me, but
It
like
wouldn't shock,
looking,
because I don't feel like they have a lot of obvious 40 man candidates outside of like
Sandlin. I think Tyler Uberstein would get 40 man before him because he's on the AAA roster and has pitched very good in AAA. So they just might feel like he's maybe more susceptible to getting picked up.
But yeah, there's very much feels like the Van Bell type, where like in terms of like they'd like to keep him, but I don't think they'd fret it too much if they lost him in some ways.
I guess I'd be upset. I like Tyler.
I know. Oh, don't get me wrong, but like I wouldn't love it, but like unless they're gonna get, I feel like Uberstein maybe is like, maybe he takes like Criswell's spot and they get rid of Criswell because he doesn't have options after. Criswell has no more options, right?
Yeah.
So like what they're gonna do with Criswell is kind of like, because Criswell's on the 40 man, but they can't send him to Worcester. Although because someone could claim him, although no one could claim him, they could keep him. Hope nobody claims him.
That would be wild. Right? He's been a very good depth piece. I can't imagine no team would someone
could use Criswell. Yeah, like some bad team could use him in the rotation or as a long reliever, even though those aren't real things anymore. But like, Johan's maybe an interesting one, just because
I think if he never got hurt, he would probably have already gotten a chance in the majors. But at this point now, I think he's gonna.
I mean, in terms of the Rule 5
I know. I just mean like obviously then they wouldn't have to worry about it because he'd be 40 man. But yeah, now at this point, I feel like they're just going to risk it with him.
Yeah, and so like to me right now, it feels literally just like Sandlin
really might be the only 100% lock.
Yeah, because like I don't see Blaze getting added. Castro's probably not going to get added. Coffey's not going to get added because he's been hurt basically all year. I don't think Johan gets added. I don't think so. Like I'm looking through, like I think Mullins might be, because like Monegro's not going to get added. He's hurt, right? It's not going to happen unless they really believe in him that much. But like
I think he's going to get taken, and it's going to hurt my soul.
It's going to be like Bastardo.
I was just talking about that the other day because someone had said like, oh well, at least with him being hurt, we don't have to worry about him getting taken.
Yes, you
and
do.
I was like, he's a no offense to Angel Bastardo, he's a better prospect than Angel Bastardo was, and this is the exact same situation. And someone took on Angel Bastardo. Like I don't think.
And it was the Blue Jays. Albeit, I will bring up the fact though, because he's coming back from Tommy John. This is like the same thing with Bastardo. Don't be shocked if Bastardo doesn't stick around with the Blue Jays and ends up back with the Red Sox. Like, don't be shocked, right? Like, don't be shocked. But like that also means like don't be shocked when Monegro gets taken, right? Because the Red Sox already have a 40-man spot locked up for Luis Perales, who they just had to go through Tommy John with him in recovery. And I'm not saying that, like, it's a bad thing, but, like, the Perales, though, was seen as a guy who was, like, Baseball America put him in, in the 50s, right before he got hurt, right? So, like, that's different. Like, Monegro hasn't really sniffed a top 100 list.
Nope.
So, it's a difference. But, like, I think Mullins might be that second guy where it's like if they add to, I think Mullins might be the second.
Yeah, that's
guy.
fair.
Right.
And I mean, he's been so good. Like you said, he snuck under the radar in the Red Sox system just because they have so many good pitching prospects. But yeah, he absolutely deserves a cup of coffee in AAA before that.
I would not be shocked if he's a part of a Joe Ryan trade. Like I could see it being like Stinson, Mullins, plus. Like if like a Duran or a Brady get traded, maybe it's like that ends up being kind of almost like a 3-team trade where like the big piece they get back, one of the big pieces they get back, and that goes to the Twins in like a Joe Ryan deal, right? Because I don't see the Red Sox trading Tolley or Arias. I think Arias would be more likely than Tolley, but I don't see Tolley happening at all. I still don't think Arias gets traded, but Mullins has been really good this year, and then Dalton Rogers having a good start is nice. He's got a 3.66 ERA this year. His numbers in Portland haven't been great. 63 innings, 4.43 ERA. It's not like nothing insane. Rogers has had a really weird time in the Red Sox system. Like in 2023, he was good in Greenville. Mm-hmm. He was good in Salem and struggled in Greenville. And then last year he kind of struggled in Greenville again, but he comes back this year and was really, really good in Greenville at the start of the year. And then he hasn't been, like, this is not me saying he's been bad in Portland, but obviously he hasn't been nearly as good as he was in Greenville. And it is interesting because you see someone like a Mullins, for example, be really good in Greenville to start the year and still be he's got a sub-2 ERA on the year. He's basically been dominant, right? And so it is interesting with Rogers where it's like, okay, like, what does, like, he's not someone who's gonna like be like a Rule 5 guy. I doubt he gets traded because I feel like his trade value wouldn't really be in like a spot where trading him would make a ton of sense. So it's kind of like, I would assume he's going to be back in Portland next year. But are they going to get to the point with Rogers, considering he's already 24? He turns 25 in January. Like, I feel like the clock's going to start ticking on him a little bit.
I'm not too worried about it.
I'm not concerned. Right?
He had one really, really, really bad outing, 1 inning, 6 runs, 4 walks, no hits. Outside of that, he's been
fine,
solid.
but like he hasn't been like he's being like similar to Mullins almost. He's being overshadowed just because there's so many good pitchers in the system. Is more so what I'm saying, and because he's already 24, turning 25 in January, you know, Perales also, like a guy like Perales coming back, right? And Mullins has been better than him. And this isn't a shot at Dalton Rogers, but in some ways I do think the clock's ticking on him a little bit in terms of like, okay, you're probably going to start next year in Portland. You're going to be 25. There's nothing wrong with being 25 in Portland, but when the Red Sox also too,
especially as a pitcher,
there's nothing wrong with it. But like, you also look at the Red Sox system and you look at the guys in the system and also add in the fact all the pitchers they took, like Marcus Phillips, shout out, Kyson Witherspoon, Anthony Ianson, all those guys could start in Greenville next year.
Yeah.
Right. And so it starts to become a little bit of like those guys very well could find themselves in Portland at some time next year. And that's my only concern with Dalton Rogers, because he's 25 and he's been in the system now for, you know, this is his 3rd full season in the system. Right. It makes me not concerned, but just like, it makes me feel like the clock's starting to tick on him a little bit in terms of like, because if he gets jumped by one of those guys, right? Like he got jumped by Tolley, which just isn't like, Tolley's been amazing, right? It's not an indictment on Dalton Rogers. It just, Tolley's been amazing. And if
Tolley jumped everyone, so
yeah. And if Kyson Witherspoon comes in and is amazing, right? And he like, it's just a thing with Rogers. Like I said, he's going to be 25. It just, like I said, the clock feels like it's ticking a little bit just in terms of him getting jumped by people.
I think the thing working for him is we're going to see trades in the offseason.
Exactly.
So like spots will be opened up. You know, it's a little hard to see the Red Sox holding on to all the pitching assets they have. Like some of these guys are going to get moved.
Hey,
I wouldn't completely hate it if they kept all of them, but I think
exactly. I was just about to say that. You know what, the Red Sox could just like get Joe Ryan for like $125,000. You know, that sounds about right. And that's what it costs to get a really good player.
I don't know. I think the Twins
maybe
are
the
going
Twins
to...
I don't know. The Twins owner might be looking to fund a Broadway musical or something. I
think the Twins are going to be kicking themselves in the offseason that they didn't accept the Red Sox. It amazes me that there's still people that are mad that the Red Sox didn't do enough to get Peyton Tolley. And it's like, no, they offered the moon, man.
Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan, yeah. They offered the moon, man. They reportedly offered Tolley, Garcia, Arias plus. If
that's the case, the Twins are dumb.
That is absurd.
You know what's gonna happen? Because here's the thing. You know what's gonna happen when the offseason comes? Tolley's off the table.
Yeah, which is exactly what's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, hey, you know who was really good post trade deadline? Yastinson Garcia. So now it's Garcia and
I can see it being like Garcia, else. Mullins, Arias.
Yeah.
Right. Which is still a lot. Don't get me wrong.
It's still a lot, but it's a steep drop off.
Yes. It's the Garrett Crochet thing where the White Sox asked for so much of the deadline. They're like, we want Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. And then they got neither of them. Which this is like Kyle Teal is good. Don't get me wrong. Brandon Montgomery is good. They're not Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer.
Yeah.
And the reason I say they're not too, like Marcelo also being a shortstop also helps. Albeit the White Sox have Colson Montgomery. So who's looked
good for them.
But like they also have Cuero as well. So like Teal and Cuero kind of don't make too much. I don't. Oh, it's the White Sox. The White Sox are going to White Sox.
But I think we're good AA wise, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we touched on everyone.
That's pretty much everyone. Giovanni Cruz, they have 4 1/3 scoreless with 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, but no hits as well. So I guess that's worth mentioning because did not mention that. Moving to Greenville, we did have a Big Al homer. No, we did not. We're not going to talk about what he did in his other at-bats. We're not talking about it. He had 2 walks, a double, and a homer, and that's all we talk about. And 4 RBIs, and that's it. Nothing else happened. Nothing else. Nothing. At all. Frelion Garcia and Johanfran Garcia both hit 2 homers this week. We talked a little bit about Johanfran Garcia with John Holobetz. It's really nice to see him just really have a solid year after just such a devastating injury. And his numbers aren't like earth-shattering. 246, 329, 420, 749 OPS on the year, right? But it feels like as of late, the last, like, I don't know exact time frame, but it feels like he's really kind of just settled in and played well, right? And the fact that he is catching pretty much primarily coming off an ACL injury it's very good because the Red Sox, you can make the argument, the one place they struggle in the system is catchers. You know what they didn't do in the draft? They did not get catchers. Did not get catching, right? Obviously, like, the Red Sox could be looking at it as like, we don't mind having veteran catchers in the throughout the system to help out the pitching. That could be part of it. But you would have thought it's their weakest position in the system. But Johanfran Garcia is going to continue kind of being, I guess the go-to guy in terms of catching in the system at least, because I don't see anyone that's really going to overtake him as the top catching prospect in the system, unless someone just comes out of nowhere next year. Or I don't know, maybe like Big Al starts catching.
It's been awesome to see the power show up very quickly. I remember after like 2 or 3 weeks of him up in Greenville, that was like the one thing was it was like, well, he looks pretty decent, but there really hasn't been much power. I think at that point he had like 1 double. And now the home runs are flying. He's already tied for the current team lead. Miguel Blaze obviously had more before he got promoted, but of the current players, he's tied for the team lead with 7. I believe it's him and Big Al. He looks good defensively. Again, that was something we talked about with John Holobetz was how impressive it's been for him to be back there following the injury. We've mentioned it a bunch, but it's just so encouraging considering last year that was like a legitimate talking point is this kind of the end of Johanfran Garcia as a catcher, which really sucks because that it's a big part of what makes him such a valuable prospect is like, hey, here's this catcher who pisses on baseballs. Like he is just a hell of a hitter. And then it seems like they're still getting that, which is it's fantastic. I'm interested to see if he gets promoted to AA before the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen because AA is currently carrying 3 catchers, Ronald Rosario, Brooks Brannon, although Brooks Brannon also can play first, and Ronaldo Hernandez. But like you mentioned, Johanfran Garcia is kind of in a space of his own when it comes to catching prospects in the Red Sox system. And it's definitely their weakest, like least depth-filled position. So I would be interested to see if they're like, hey, we do have a legitimate catching prospect and maybe we want to showcase him a little bit more. Outside of him, the other 2 big ones I had anything on, Justin Reimer had probably his best week in professional baseball. 3 multi-hit games. He hit his first professional home run. He's only hitting 244 on the year, but he's got a 416 on base percentage, just a 290 slug. He's got 5 doubles and the homer. But he's such a good, like, top of the order guy. 16 runs, or he's driven in 16 runs. He scored 25 more. He's stolen 9 bases. He has we've talked about him before as kind of a prospect in the same mold of Chase Mydroth, where he draws counts, he doesn't strike out a lot, he gets on base, blah blah blah. I feel like we haven't highlighted this enough, though. On the year, 49 walks compared to just 44 strikeouts, and maybe it goes unnoticed a little bit because he's never been like the star of Greenville. Like obviously Franklin Arias is there, Zach Earhart was there for a little bit, just mashing. Johanfran Garcia is there, Miguel Blaze was there. Like there's been a ton of very talented players there, and the Brooks Brandon was there crushing baseballs for a while. So there's been a ton of talent there. Obviously, I didn't even mention like Nelly Taylor, Yoferi Rodriguez. I could name most of the roster. It's been a very fun roster all year. But I feel like Justin Reimer is someone who we maybe haven't shown as much love to as we should, and it might have to do with a 244 average with not a lot of power isn't going to excite anyone. But you're almost never going to get a bad at bat from Justin Reimer, and that's so ridiculously important, especially in the low levels of the minors. You're not getting a ton of that. You're getting a lot of young, inexperienced guys who aren't going to work counts, aren't going to be able to lay off almost any bad pitch from a pitcher. And Greenville has two of those guys in Reimer and Nelly Taylor, who are going to just make it hell for a pitcher in games. And that's massive. They're making starting pitchers work more, and they are all on strict pitch counts, which means they're coming out of the game quicker. It's not like the sexiest thing for a prospect to have is like, hey, this guy's going to work a 10 pitch walk. Like fans aren't getting super jacked up about that, but it's a very important aspect of the game and something that tends to translate well as you move up through the minors, get to the majors. That is a big reason for Chase Mydroth's success was, yeah, sure, he didn't hit for a lot of power, but no matter what level he was at, he was still working counts, drawing walks, and making pitchers work, and that is what Justin Reimer's been doing.
Yeah, I do want to talk a little bit on Franklin Arias because so his last 40 games, the number 204, 263, 293, like they don't look great. I wonder if Franklin Arias is almost falling victim of being too good at making contact. Like, because his swing rate is 49%. Is swinging at less than half the pitches he sees, but his contact rate's 90%, and his swinging strike rate is under 5% in Greenville. And his BABIP in his last 40 games is 214. I very much have a feeling that he's fallen victim to being too good at making contact, which we've seen happen with guys in the past. Sometimes, like Cedar Rafael is like one of those guys, albeit the swing decisions were bad at times. But Cedar would sometimes swing at a pitch that he had no business swinging at. But also be like the invert where like Cedar was swinging at a pitch he had no business swinging at, but he got a single on it, right? And it's like it's kind of hard to tell a guy don't swing at a pitch when he's getting hits. Arias's fly ball rate has jumped up. His fly ball rate's jumped up from 24.6% in Salem to 33.6% in Greenville. And with that, his infield fly ball rate has jumped up 10%. So obviously there's more pop-ups there, right? So less line drives. His ground ball rate is basically the same, right? So there's some more pop-ups there. So he's been struggling a little bit. But like I said, I do think he might be almost falling victim to being too good at making contact and being too good at putting the bat on the ball. Because if you're swinging at half the pitches you see and you're making contact 90% of the time you swing, 9 times out of 10, you're going to swing at one of the first 2 pitches you see and hit it.
Yeah.
Right? So on average then, like, 9 times out of 10, his at-bat's only going to be 2 pitches because he's swinging at half the pitches. So that means one of his first 2 pitches he's swinging at, most likely. Most likely, if we're just playing averages, right? Or we're playing percentages.
Yeah. And
then 9 times out of 10, he's putting that ball in play. Or he's making contact, right? So he almost might be a victim of being too good at making contact. He's almost the type of guy who could afford to have some swing and miss.
Yeah. I think that's something, obviously they're not going to work on swing and miss.
Yes.
But I think something that they will work on it's something more you'll probably focus on in the off season is swing decision, I guess. It's not like he's out there swinging at pitches in the dirt. Yes. But still, it might be something where they're like, hey, we want you to work on sitting back and waiting for your pitch.
Yeah.
It's something you see with a lot of good major league hitters.
Selective.
Yeah, it's something you see with a lot of good major league hitters. It's something like Roman Anthony does it, and sometimes it annoys people where it's like, oh, he stared at a pitch he could have hit, but then he'll smoke the 99-mile-an-hour fastball, a high 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's like, oh, okay, he was waiting for that. And it's like when you're that good at making contact, you can afford to maybe take a pitch even if it was in the strike zone. So yeah, maybe that's something that they focus on in the offseason. It was good to see him hit a home run this week, though.
Yes,
we've seen a decent amount of power from him since he got up to high A. Nothing crazy, but it's good to see him put a lot of drive onto the ball every once in a while.
Yeah, and I do think it's definitely something where, like, the less contact thing. Obviously, like, yes, you still want to make contact, but I think it was last year. It's like Stephen Kwan, I think last year had his slugging percentage jumped up, and he was hitting the ball more. But if I remember correctly, I think he was hitting the ball harder on average, but he was making contact a little bit less. I think, at least at the beginning of the year, I think it was something like that, where it was he was intentionally trying to swing harder, because even though he might swing and miss more, you get more slug. Although Kwan is kind of a different type, and there's I do I think with Arias, it is maybe a thing of maybe if he not selling out for power, but if he ends up a consequence of maybe being a little bit more selective, but also maybe focusing a little bit more on power, not trying to hit home runs, but it could very well end up, he might swing and miss a tad bit more, but if his contact rate goes from 90% to 85%, but he's driving the ball more, and driving the ball isn't necessarily an issue for Arias, but sometimes when guys are so good at, Luis Arias might be the best example of almost being too good at making contact sometimes, because sometimes Luis Arias will take a pitch that's a perfect painted pitch by the pitcher, but he makes contact with it, but it's a grounder to the shortstop, or even if it's hard hit, right? But there's not much you're going to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Arias almost sometimes maybe could fall to that, where it's you sometimes might just be too good at making contact. Because I think Luis Arias is the perfect example. I think he's too good at making contact. Luis Arias is, because he makes it doesn't matter what he swings at, he's going to hit it, right?
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Santo Rafaela almost at times is like that, where he might swing at a pitch that bounces, but odds I still think he's going to hit it sometimes. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. out for a base hit on the bounce. Rafi did it sometimes in terms of Rafi could hit a bad pitch whenever, right? So I'm not saying Arias the swing decisions are bad, but sometimes it's just not a ton of pitches. Even his called strike percentage is under 14%, right?
Yeah. So
he's not seeing a ton of strikes. And I think he might, like I said, a lot of it might just be he's not swinging and missing a lot either. So I think a lot of it is just might just be too good at hitting the ball.
And then pitching wise, I just have Devin Futrell, 4 innings, 1 unearned run, 1 hit, struck out 3 batters, walked 2 in 46 and a third innings between single A and high A this year. 2.14 ERA, 2.27 batting average against, 1.12 WHIP. Only 12 walks. He only has 32 strikeouts too, which is the issue. He's not really striking people out, but he's been so effective at both levels so far. I think he's only had 8 innings in high A, but it's a massive positive to see that he is moving up and continuing to pitch really well. Not again, due to the strikeout numbers being so low, not the sexiest prospect to look at, but he's been effective.
Yeah, and then I'll just bring up Austin Ehrlicher. One game. No, it wasn't a start though. He came out of the bullpen, but 4 2/3 innings, 2 hits, no runs. He did walk 4 and also hit a batter and only struck out 3. But you know what? He got through 4 2/3 without giving up a run. So it was a little bit messy, but he got the job done in 16 innings in Greenville so far. He's only given up 1 run. So he's looked good in his and he's also had he's looked good in that kind of short sample size in Greenville. Last level Salem. I guess we can start with Yoiker Fajardo. He's an official legend of the show. Yoiker Fajardo. I still can't believe that we somehow just called the trade happening. Yoiker Fajardo, though, 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Did walk 3, but with 8 strikeouts in 4 innings. Very, very good game for him, and he's very seemingly settled in Salem. Had a rough couple of starts at the beginning in Salem, but he's really settled in. 37 and a third innings in 9 starts, 37 strikeouts, just 14 walks, and a 3.38 ERA, even with those kind of rough starts at the beginning. He's really kind of settled in Salem and has been really good as of late.
Yeah, the 8 strikeouts were tied for a season high. I believe he did it like 2 weeks ago or something. He had 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. It's just an absurdly dominant start. He struck out the first 5 batters of the game. And then it was, I think, like 6 of the first 8. And then he ran in a little issues in the 4th inning. Ended up loading the bases with, I think, just 1 out. Got a strikeout, got weak contact, got out of the inning. Awesome to see. Great to see that he is able to work through those issues. Obviously, it's kind of like what I mentioned with Peyton Tolley last week. Like, yeah, it would have been great if he just went out there and threw 9 perfect innings, but it's also not bad to see a prospect have to work through adversity, and that's what we got to see with Fajardo this week. Obviously, not a ton of adversity. He threw 4 shutout innings, but like the fact that he had pitched himself into a situation and was able to pitch himself out of it, that's awesome to see, especially from an 18-year-old. It's crazy to think about the fact that when they traded him for a 32-year-old left-handed reliever with like 30 career major league innings, and he was very much a lottery ticket prospect, and not even a year after the trade, and it's already like, this is not a lottery ticket prospect anymore. Like, sure, he is in the sense of he is an 18-year-old in single A. Like, no team is going to see him as like the massive piece of a trade, but he is like now very firmly a top 20-ish prospect in the system.
At one point, Fernando Tatis Jr. wasn't seen as a massive piece of a trade, and then look what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where Sox Prospects has him. They have him. I know he's in their top 30. Is he not? That would be crazy. Am I just walking past him every time? He's 18. Okay, yeah. So that makes me feel good about saying he is firmly a top 20 prospect.
Yeah.
It's just the fastball looks good. The breaking stuff looks good. It's go back and look at the strikeouts. I posted all of them. He's gross, man. He throws disgusting stuff. I wouldn't be completely shocked if he got a couple innings in high A before the end of the year. It's not maybe something that they feel is like the biggest need, but I would not be shocked if the week or 2 weeks before the end of the season, we get the notification that Yoiker Fajardo is moving up and they get him 1 or 2 starts at the level. But he is absolutely someone who I think is going to fly up rankings next season. I'm very excited to see Fajardo just go nuts in the rankings.
Yeah. Speaking of someone in Greenville, just real quick, we didn't mention Jackson Paez was activated this week from the 60-day injured list. So shout out. It's nice to have him back. Jesus Travieso, 4 2/3 innings, did give 2 unearned runs. He had 7 strikeouts in his 4 2/3 innings. I think Sox Prospects put him into the top. I think he's in their top 40, I think. Yeah, he's at 38 for them. So he's a guy that, had they not added the guys who were already drafted, would be pushing close to the top 30. So he's someone who I think is going to be kind of interesting to watch kind of down the stretch. And then also, I think the real interesting guy, though, I haven't been on the show since he's pitched this year, Brady Tigert, because I missed the last 2 weeks of the show. Tigert this week.
Yeah, but he pitched on like April 5th, to be fair, once.
Did he pitch on April? Oh, yeah, he did. That is true. I don't think we talked about it, though. I mean, like,
we probably talked about it for 2 seconds because he pitched like 2 innings. It was probably just like, oh, Boston Red Sox new prospect.
I don't remember. It's too long ago from my memory. I don't
also
remember.
That, it was 3 months ago.
We might have still been going over the fact that we just finally know what the rosters are at that point. But Tigert, this is the first time that I'm on the show since he's came back. And overall this year, he hasn't given up a run in 7 1/3 innings, and he's got 11 strikeouts. In that time, has walked 5 and hit 2 batters. In those 7 1/3, so not the most ideal. But obviously, he had 5 strikeouts in the 2 2/3 in his appearance this week.
Yeah,
his first one out of the bullpen as well this week. Albeit that's not really saying much. He still went 2 2/3 innings.
Also doesn't really count as out of the bullpen. I mean, I know it does, but it was a game that had been suspended, and he started. He was supposed to start in the original, I think it was Thursday, the original Thursday.
Yeah, but instead, but in terms of
it's technically out of the bullpen. But,
yes, in air quotes. Well, I shouldn't say in air quotes. It is technically it is out of the bullpen. Yeah. It's just but his first it is his first appearance out of the bullpen. Obviously, he had a full starter routine, but technically relief appearance.
But I mean,
I can't wait for someone starter to get a 3-inning save that way.
That would be cool. 109 whip, 120 batting average against, 0 ERA in the 7 1/3. He's been good, striking people out. Another good outing for him this week. It's good to see him come back after 4 months off and still he hasn't skipped a beat. It would have been very easy to write it off as, oh, he's rusty if he came out and just got hit around or couldn't locate or whatever it was. He's been fantastic. And then Treviso is very intriguing to me because he's had some really rough looking outings, but even in those outings, he looks really gross. And this week was just pure filth 90% of the time. Also only 18 years old. I feel like he's getting a little overshadowed because Yoiker Fajardo is also in that rotation. And he is the clear guy at the moment for them. And
even Jose Bayo, because he came in. And
even Jose Bayo.
No, sorry, the Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks trade. If I pissed you off,
we'll just call it the Kyle Harrison trade.
If you got pissed off from that, you deserve being pissed off by that.
But he's been gross. I think Fajardo and like you mentioned, Bayo maybe overshadow him just because of with Fajardo just how good he's been, and then with Bayo just the connection to the Devers movement. But Treviso has the stuff to be a ridiculously intriguing prospect. He's another guy who I think will at least has the potential to make leaps and bounds next year.
Hey, I mean, if we're going by a naming contest, nothing against Treviso, but they should trade him for Jesus or Jesus Made, so we can get the better. I know the Brewers aren't going to do that. I'm just saying, trade one Jesus for Jesus, trade Jesus for the other Jesus. I remember David DeJesus. I used to always call him David DeJesus. I don't know. Just thought it was funny. It's like David DeJesus. No, David DeJesus. I always thought it was funny. I don't know why I thought it was funny. I was 10. I thought it was hilarious. I might have been 9 or 8 even. I don't know. On the hitting side of things, 5 homers this week for Salem. That might be a new
shocking
record.
Amount of power.
Yolan Cespedes, Justin Gonzalez, Frederick Jimenez, Maximus Martin, and Gerardo Rodriguez all hit homers. Justin Gonzalez had no strikeouts this week while walking 3 times.
22 at-bats, 3 walks, so 25 plate appearances, no strikeouts is stupid.
He's a freak. He is a freak. We will next week potentially be having someone on who can confirm how tall he is, maybe. Because we still don't. He's definitely not 6'4".
No, that was the Fred Nance, or no, not Fred Nance. Whoever, the Fred Nance announcer had mentioned how he said like, oh, he's listed at 6'4", but that was his listing from last year, and apparently people in the Red Sox system say he's at least 6'6". And I tweeted that out, and Chris Hatfield of Sox Prospects said he will look into that because I believe they went to the games. They went to the Salem games. I don't think he ever tweeted it out. I'm going to have to message him and ask if Justin Gonzalez, if he has confirmed Justin Gonzalez is 6'6" or taller, because he's not 6'4". He does not. He's just not.
He's not 6'4". He's absolutely not 6'4". I swear, if Justin, like, if you didn't know it was Justin Gonzalez, and someone's like, yeah, there's this guy for the, like, in Salem, and he's, supposedly he's 6'4", but like he's really like 6'6". And oh yeah, he's 18 years old. He's like, you'd be like, yeah, no, that guy's not 18. Like, absolutely. Like, I don't know, like, I remember there's always these stupid rumors for years about, well, Albert Pujols is really older than he was. It's like, one, that just makes what he did in his career more impressive.
Well, I think Miguel Tejada, it was like proven that he was older.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it has happened where
it has happened.
Like, it has, but it's been proven that they were older than they said they were.
Well, I'm just saying,
which makes sense because like a team's not going to sign you if you're 14. So they're like, oh, or wait, no. Yeah. Either way, like maybe a team would be like, oh, we don't want to sign you because you're 21. So they're like, no, I'm only 16. And then, which does make it impressive when they're 37 and still playing good baseball. And it's like, no, they're actually 42.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Gonzalez, like, if you didn't tell someone how old he was, they'd probably look at him and be like, what is this guy, like 23, 24, 25? Like, just, which
to be fair to him, he does have a baby face. So
I mean, yeah, but in terms of like height wise,
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it is easier to see him.
Well, Steph Curry had a baby face for how long?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying, like, he looks.
He also,
18.
His facial hair was also. They also, on Jimmy Kimmel's show, they did like mean tweets, and Steph Curry read one that said his facial hair was puby. This is in like 2016 or 2017.
But Justin Gonzalez,
I'm like, that fits the baby face.
Yes, it does. 294, 381, 415 since being promoted to single A. 381 on base percentage is absurd. We've mentioned it a ton. Just the eye is so advanced.
He's also got a bigger strike zone, so you would think it would be easier for pitchers to throw strikes against him.
I would love to see him get a little bit of time in high A before the end of the year. I don't think it's out of the question. Another guy who I just think is going to fly through the rankings. I think the only thing maybe holding him down a little bit is he's probably a first baseman long term. I had someone ask me, like, why isn't he playing first base? Was he that bad at it last year? And I said, no, it was the DSL. So I can't really confirm if he was good or bad at it, but it's just value of a prospect is so much higher when they're an outfielder as opposed to a first baseman. So they're not going to put him at first base until
Manny can play left field.
Yeah,
anyone can.
So they're not going to put him in at first until they feel it's necessary.
I can't wait for the Yankees to try and sign Munetaka Murakami, and then he's just god awful defensively at third base. Oh, would make me so happy.
And then after Gonzalez,
they have Ryan McMahon. Actually, never mind. I forgot they have Ryan McMahon. Sorry.
What?
I was going to trash the Yankees because their fielders suck. Oh. They suck defensively. I was trying to trash the Yankees because they suck defensively, and then I just realized they have an actual good third baseman now.
Gerardo Rodriguez. The whole narrative with him has been just a phenomenal defensive catcher. Almost zero power. Like he had no home runs last year. He had no home runs this year in the FCL, and then comes up and he's already hit two homers. He's hitting 346 with a double and 2 homers since being promoted to single A. The power seems like it's arrived a little bit at least. He's walked 4 times compared to just 1 strikeout, and the reports on the defense were not exaggerated. He is so good behind the plate. It's really fun to see someone in single A throwing out catcher or throwing out would-be base runners, because it's not easy to throw out base runners in the minor league system, in minor leagues. That's why you see so many people steal a ridiculous amount of bases. Because it's just, there's so much that goes into it. You need a catcher that can actually throw people out. You need a pitcher who can actually hold people, and pitchers in the minors are very, very bad at holding base runners. And he's negating a lot of those issues. On it. Yeah. And he's negating a lot of those issues by having an absolute cannon for an arm.
Yeah. I will also bring up, outside of the home run hitters, Starlin Nunez had 6 hits this week, a couple of doubles. He also walked 4 times, so he reached base 10 times. And then D'Angelo Ortiz went 4 for 13 with a double, and he also walked 3 times, just struck out twice.
That was his first single A double.
Yeah. And then Nathaniel Newton did have 7 hits this week, 3 of them being doubles.
Nathaniel Newton, the Fred Nats announcer hates him. Literally, like the first game of the series, he was like, "Oh, Nathaniel Newton destroys us. We don't like him here." Like, apparently he hit like 450 against them last year. And then in his first at-bat, he hit a double. And then in his next at-bat, he hit an RBI double. And the announcer was literally just like, "Here we go again with U10. Like, we're just going to have to deal with this again." And he was right. U10 hit them around. Another guy who I feel like deserves a shot in high A before the end of the year. And yeah, like you said,
we need to see if you got any more fat on those bones. I can't believe we had Nelly Taylor on last year, and we're like, it was like, is Nathaniel Newton really that skinny? And Nelly Taylor's like, yeah, he's like 3% body fat. And we're just like, that's not possible. That's not possible. You mean he might be negative 3%?
Yeah, he's a skinny dude, man. He's a skinny dude. Starlin Nunez, 7-game hitting streak. He's been such a good spark plug for them. Salem's had a lot of offensive issues this year, especially after some promotions. They're figuring it out now with Justin Gonzalez being there, and with a lot of those draftees at the level. Obviously, Mason White was there for like a week. He got called up because Henry Godbout got hurt. Jack Winay's hurt now, so there's a couple less of those guys in the lineup. But Maximus Martin's in the lineup. He went 4 for 17 this week, which isn't great, but he did have 2 doubles. He did hit his first professional home run. I just absolutely love his swing. He's looked solid defensively. He's stolen 4 bases. I'm very intrigued to see how he does the rest of the year. I think he's someone who will be very fun to watch throughout his entire minor league career.
Definitely. I don't have anything else, Hunter. If you got anything else, perfect.
I think I'm good.
We're gonna wrap it up. Not too long.
No, I'm proud of us. I thought this would be a lot worse. This is
Me
only
too.
like 24 minutes longer than me and Jake went, so we did good.
I think you and Jake actually got under 2 hours.
Last week, I don't think we did.
Or not last week, the week before.
I think the week before we did. I think last week we were at like 2:08.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you guys had the Marcus Phillips interview. Yeah, but you guys went under 2 hours the first week, and I was like,
we went under 3 hours. I'm proud of us.
I didn't know if we. That is true. That is true. Jake will probably bring us back to like 2 hours and 15 next week, or not. I don't know. We might have stuff going on next week, so who knows? I don't know. We're just hoping to get confirmation on Justin Gonzalez's height, though. That's the real thing. That's the goal. At some point, if we have to talk to people, that have, that maybe have the pay grade for that, we'll have to figure that out. But with that, we're gonna wrap it up. Once again, I will thank John Holobetz for joining us for the first about hour or so, hour and change of the show. Thank you for his time, and we're gonna hope him the best of luck the rest of the year. And shout out to Jake, although he's not here. We hope he is enjoying the Red Sox game. Hopefully, I don't know what the score is right now. I'm not looking. I haven't looked at it. But
currently 2-0 Orioles.
Oh, great. Well, if they lose, I'm blaming it on Jake and Jason because they're both there, especially Jason. So with that, we're gonna wrap it up though. For Hunter, my name is Derek. As always, thanks for tuning into the Pesky Report. I forgot to say bye Beyond the Monster last night, so I'm gonna say it again. Just for I said it at the end of the show last night, but I'm gonna say it again now at the end of this show. Just to kind of for that. This is the Pesky Report, minor league show brought to you by Beyond the Monster. Once again, so I don't forget. And we will see you next time.